Because when you're doing exercises, they'd ask, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" And you'd always have to reply with, "Always ready."
Oh, poor Bearded. Okay. They can hear us, by the way.
Yep, because they're ready.
I can, bro. Poor Bearded.
Damn right.
What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to this week's episode of the PREDCAST number. Oh my god, I just said this. 52, actually. Episode number 52, man. We actually just got a lot of information shortly posted by Predecessor. What was it, like an hour ago? Something like that, right? Like 2 hours ago? Whenever they posted?
About 3 hours ago.
Wasn't it, Pinzo?
No.
Right?
It was this morning.
There's no way. The whole,
It was there when I woke up.
The Robbie thing and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what I get for waking up at 2 o'clock anyway. So
it's 12:16 p.m. That's not morning, but it's not 2 hours ago. So you're both wrong.
All I know is I woke up like at 10:30 and there was a blog post.
But yeah, so we're gonna get into it. There's quite a bit to talk about. We're gonna also touch on the prior patch that got released, kind of go over a couple things here and there. But before we get too deep into it, let's go ahead and get our introductions going. If we can introduce ourselves in this specific way, let's go Secret, Pinzo, Bearded, then myself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Secret. I am a streamer that streams live on Twitch every day in Europe. I literally play Predecessor almost 8 hours a day. That's what I do. And I just try to entertain you guys and hang out with you guys. And I look forward to being on this.
Bro,
all right.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, appreciate you taking a nap in the day to be able to be awake for this. All right. Thought when I sent out the request or asked for you to be here, I definitely thought you were NA side. And then I found that out, and that's pretty badass that you did that for us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right.
What time is it over there? 1 a.m.?
It's about to hit 2 a.m. in about 20 minutes, but here I am.
You're good, bro. I can't. I think you're
Everything
wild.
For the community, man. That's why I'm here. Gotta shout out to Europeans, man. Gotta do it.
Carrying EU on his back. It's okay. Most of them need it. Go ahead, Pinzo.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm Pinzo. I'm a streamer, YouTuber. I make pred content. I stream every day. I upload YouTube videos every day. You can find me at Pinzo on all my socials. If you guys ever need to get a hold of me, Discord or Twitter are the way to go. Or show up to PREDCAST live and ask some questions. That's the other option.
There you go. Be active. All right, hold on real quick. I know this is a show about PREDCAST, but this really bothered me. I woke up today and I saw a post in one of my friends' Discords that a PTO partner, and the post is from one of the devs from PTO. They're doing a hero release video or whatever for Boris on December 25th at 10 p.m. and they're asking people to be there and be active. I'm like, that's fucking Christmas. Like, why would you do that on Christmas? Well, it's not Christmas for them. Yeah, but you have an NA community too. Like, it's not just, this isn't a whole Korean community. You got a whole NA community. It just blows my mind that that's even a thing. Like, why would you not think about the whole community? Wouldn't you want everybody to, as many people as you can, to be there, to be active for it? Even
that's the reason why we're doing this now.
Be active. Exactly.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this now, because we don't want to do an episode like right on, Christmas Eve or right on Christmas and stuff. We're like, no, we're gonna let people chill out.
No,
we'll do an episode after.
Let them chill to do it. And that's what Predecessor did with the patch. They dropped the patch a week early because we're supposed to get this patch next week, but hey, they don't want to work on Christmas, so they dropped the patch early. But anyway, so introduction. Sorry, when you said that, it just made me think of that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it blows my mind. What's going on, everybody? It's I, the Beer Wolverine, your Michigan Wonder, and I'm very excited to be here and excited to get to know a little more about Secret. I did play a couple games with him before. He pulled me up to those high fucking elo matches. Made it a little rough for me, but definitely a good guy to game with. So hopefully I'll get better to where I can actually have better games with him. But I am excited to talk to you guys about what we got to talk about. They dropped some good information today, and I can't wait to go over it. So with that, let's get Windu introduced here.
I see. What's up, guys? I'm Windu, also known as Windu the Mace. Basically just do Predecessor content as of nowadays, but if you search Windu the Mace, you might find some Star Wars racing stuff here and there. And yeah, just pretty much here to do the PREDCAST. So for those of you that don't know, PREDCAST, essentially, it's a kind of bi-weekly at this point episodes that we host as far as, you know, latest news,
the fluid
updates.
schedule.
Yeah. It's a very on the go schedule because the time frame of updates got adjusted a little bit. Used to be every week. Now, we'll usually let you know when the next episode is going to be by the end of this episode. But yeah, so in its own, you might hear us compare Predecessor to other MOBAs as we go throughout. Just be mindful that overall, we're going to try and keep this as Predecessor focused as possible. While, if anything, before we actually get too deep into this, because we got a shit ton of stuff to talk about, to be honest with you. Let's talk about Secret, man. Secret, you just told me behind the scenes, man. You're fairly new to streaming. Tell me about that. How long ago did you start streaming?
Yeah, so I started streaming Predecessor like 4 months ago. Like, I have streamed before. I have a little bit of experience, but I made a whole new account and a whole new name and kind of all of that just for Predecessor. I've always like checked out Predecessor a little bit. Like I started when it just released in early access on Steam, and then I like came back to it, like played a couple games. I was like, not feeling it yet. And then all of a sudden I got sucked in. I played for like a couple weeks, like game after game after game after game. I was like, why do I not just stream this? You know, like I'm playing anyways. So I started streaming, and here we are. And yeah, we're kind of doing pretty good on Twitch. And now I'm all about the game, all about the community, constantly reading up on everything. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the process so far.
He's underplaying himself a little bit, guys. My dude literally has clocked like 1,500 games since July. Like,
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Grind.
Yeah,
Could not
just
be me.
grinding a little bit. Maybe I play 15 games a day now instead of 10 because now I'm really hyped with the pet report that just dropped. So
There you go.
yeah, really
no,
good
that's
stuff in
awesome.
there.
That's awesome. So, what are your goals now that you're a partner? Like, what do you want to do being a partner with Predecessor?
Honestly, the reason I wanted to become a partner is to like, I saw like the codes getting given away, and I saw like the tournaments, you know, like the content creator tournament. I was like, damn, I want to be part of that. Seems like so much fun. So that's why I applied. And other than that, I'm honestly like, I just want to have fun with the community, meme with the community. Like that's what I'm all about. Like, so yeah, that's what I do. I just have fun and try to be good at the game. I get memed a lot. You know, I'm pretty trash. Okay, for everybody that watches this, I am trash and I know it, and I'm a 1-trick ADC. Okay, I get it. It's okay.
He said it's okay. Don't worry about it. Leave me alone.
That's Medkit with a German accent. Just wants to meme with the community. Just wants to have a good time and then try to be good at the game. That's Medkit.
Yeah.
That's what
Exactly. That's me. That's all I do.
Now,
Well, that's awesome.
Well, I was gonna ask you real quick. So, as far as you're streaming, you're getting back into it, just so people know what time frame do you usually stream? Where can they catch you? Stuff like that. You upload on YouTube too.
I stream over at Twitch. I did do a little bit of YouTube. I'm looking to potentially get back into that. I made like back when it just released the game, I made like a 10 tips kind of video that got about 5,000 views or something, but I never really got back into it that much anymore. Other than that, I stream from like 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Central European time. So if anybody from EU is watching this, come hang out in stream, or even like if you're from Manila and you want to watch on your downtime, feel free to come and stop by. But yeah, that's usually when I do. I usually stream for about 8 hours and then I call it quits.
All right. No, that's
man,
awesome.
Best of success to you, bro. You gonna say something, Brady?
Yeah, thank you, man.
No, that's all I was say is that was awesome. I'm excited to see where you go with this, and you know, 5,000 views on just something you put together is nothing to shy out about, though. Your name on Twitch, what is that? What is your name on Twitch?
Secret. It's a secret _pred, but I mean, I usually just go by it's a secret. If you type that in, you will find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it was one that was underscore pred. I just want to make sure there wasn't somebody smurfing you or whatever, trying to act like you.
Actually, that monster is not me. That's right. I'm actually bronze.
There you go. All right. Well, let's move on to patch notes. This most recent patch that we had. They did a hot fix. The hot fix fixed Ella Frost. So that's back up and running. And they also fixed a bug that caused the game to freeze if the player used the in-game chat in the shop menu. So that's good because we can't, gotta be talking, asking our teammates, what should I buy while I'm in this menu looking at things. All right. Pretty much so about this patch. Again, this patch was released early because of the fact that it was supposed to be released next week, but that's Christmas and nobody wants to work on holidays. So that's kind of what the introduction says. But the store update, we're getting these new skins, or we got these new skins. Which one's your favorite, guys? FaZe, Chimera, or Drongo, or Howitzer?
Drongo.
Who likes what? Drongo? Okay, all right.
Bro,
I'm an ADC man, so that doesn't count, I guess. But still, I like Drongo a lot.
Pinzel, which one's your favorite out of the four?
Probably the Howie skin.
Howie skin. Howie skin's pretty badass.
He doesn't have any other good skins.
That's fair, true. Because this is Drongo's second nice skin, right? Howie.
Really? Yes, another nice skin. Which one?
Yeah. What's his?
He
other
has one of the better recolors. Is mostly what I mean. Howie's
Oh,
recolor is
okay.
bad.
Oh.
Bro, I already
So
bought
that's
the Drongo
why
skin.
I like it.
Like, I'm talking about, like, the moment that patch went live, I stopped my study and went to the store, bought it, closed the game, went back to studying.
The Drongo skin?
Yes, bro. Like, and here's the thing. I remember this skin.
It's green, so I won't buy it.
I don't care about that, right? I don't care. I love the way this skin looks, by all means. But I'll be honest, I was kind of shocked that they even added multiple skins. You know how they've kind of been sprinkling just like one skin here and there? The fact that they added multiple, I was like, hey, maybe they're generous because it's Christmas. I don't know.
That's what it says. It says to celebrate the holiday season, we're adding veritable Snowstorm and Fanatics new skins to the store. So it's literally all that reason for Christmas.
I was surprised I saw 2 banger skins for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree with Pinzo though. I think my favorite one out of this is Howie, because it also not only does it change his mech, but it also changes Howie. Like you don't see the little raccoon or whatever he is. Like he's actually in a little spacesuit in there, so that's really cool there as well. The Chimera skin, the tiger pelt, it's a nice skin. It's actually one of his better skins, I think, but it's still, it kind of goes along with his other skins that he's got, like the Grux pelt and stuff like that. So it kind of mimics that. And the FaZe skin, she's got a panda backpack. That's always cool.
Redhead FaZe though.
I can't with him, bro.
Did she get redhead?
He said that's
she's
the
got red
move.
hair, yeah.
Oh,
That's the way to go.
All right, so here's the most controversial side of it, though. The next one coming up is the controller changes. The in-game shop, they took away. This is how I'm understanding it, right? I'm not even going but reading it, but how I'm understanding people complaining about it. They took away the cursor and they're making people use the D-pad to get around. And people are, I'm seeing a lot of people up in arms about this, like hating it. They don't like this feel for it. Yeah. So I don't know what the plan is. I don't know. Again, if there's any controller users in the chat, let us know what your thoughts are on it, how it is. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people were hating on it. I don't know if it's something you got to get used to. I don't know if it's something you just got to give them either or choice, like give them both choices. Don't take one away. Like give them the choice to just put D-pad on or whatever. I don't know, but I saw a lot of people the day this dropped were just complaining about that.
Well,
so interesting.
I could see, like, let's say for example, how the recommended screen is very simple, 3 major items to choose from, and maybe like a small list right below them, Yep. I think that's fine on the D-pad. But then if you got to go to all items, that would get annoying. Maybe these are players that aren't too familiar with the sorting, like, filter by power or filter by carry items and stuff. if they did that, that'll simplify it to like 10 to 15 items per category, you know?
Right.
But I could see it. Maybe they're just getting annoyed of click, 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 just trying to go through the entire list of items, I guess.
And I also saw somebody say that they just give them the ability to adjust the stick sensitivity, so then you could the cursor, you can move it quicker. You know, that was the biggest thing, is like how slow it was moving, I guess, is what people were complaining about. So that's kind of why they went to the D-pad situation. So I don't know. I haven't really been able to play it that much. My son's got it on the PS4, but I don't dabble with it because that's all the way across the other side of the house. And when I play, I'm usually streaming. So I haven't really touched it much. So I don't know how it works. But that's just the things that I've been seeing with people complaining about it.
Is everybody here PC out of the four of us talking?
Yeah, I've never played controller.
The few times I've played controller, I've opened the item shop with my keyboard.
Me too.
And just done it with my mouse because it's easier. And like, I'm already playing on my PC. I'm like, I could drag around the items, but I don't want to sit here for 10 minutes trying to click the right stuff.
Yep. Big Doink says in chat, just let us pick from both and allow cursor move speed to increase. So yeah, pretty much what I was
Just give them
saying.
best of all worlds sort of vibe.
Yep. So
Like in
controller,
Smite, it was always that way on console. It wasn't D-pad, but you just moved this stick. You didn't have a cursor. It would just filter, like a grid, but you moved it with the stick.
okay. Interesting.
So, I don't
I'll
know.
tell you what, as
Yeah.
PC players, I still like the changes to the store. I think the store looks nice, to be honest.
Oh, it does.
Except for Stormbreaker.
Yeah, Stormbreaker is off.
what happened to
Stormbreaker's
it?
definitely off.
What did I not notice?
Go open Pred and look at the build path on Stormbreaker, and then you'll understand.
I'll send it to you right now. I got it right here. I
You have a
sent it to
screenshot?
you. I got a screenshot. I sent it to our it's dark though. It's a dark picture, but you'll see. Look at the swords. You can see that they're not.
It's not visually pleasing.
Yeah, the swords are definitely.
It's the only one that
squished.
looks like that.
Yeah.
It got
It's the
squeezed like
only
that.
one.
Yeah.
That's a
That
funny
one.
bug. I gotta say, that's a
Well,
funny
that's-
bug.
The store
I
is
literally-
it's a lot more responsive though, so I like that. I don't have
Oh
to
yes,
click a
you don't
million
have to
times
smash the
to buy
button.
my item.
Yes, I was noticing.
That's right.
I was playing last night. I'm like, oh, like as soon as I
Uh-huh.
you just lightly touch the left mouse button and it buys. It's like, no, I didn't want to buy that.
Exactly.
You look at the left mouse button, it buys now. Before you had to like smash your mouse against the wall and then jump around twice and then go smash your mouse button again to finally buy what you wanted to buy. That's how bad it was. And now you look at the left mouse button and it buys what you want, everything in there. It's like, damn it, too much. So much better.
I was gonna say, Bearded, you're frozen right now.
Of course I am.
Yeah. Zoom is kind of tripping out a
Yeah, it
little
is.
bit there.
Yeah.
Every time you talk, whoever was the last person to talk gets frozen because your camera isn't letting
Nice.
in.
Why is it me?
I don't know. Do me a favor, just disconnect and,
Yeah, I'm
and
back.
connect back in while we chat here. But no, what do you guys think about the actual visual aspect of that store? Like, you notice how like certain items get like kind of grayed out, kind of foggy in the background now, whenever you can't buy it and stuff like that. You think those are nice
I
quality of
haven't
life
noticed
changes?
that.
You haven't noticed it?
What I have noticed is when I press all items, now instead it's like the full completed items. I'm not sure if I like that, because I
I
just
think
want to
that's
like,
the right
for
way
example,
to do it personally.
you think? I think I just want a sword so I can buy swords really quick. But
I like
man.
that it has tier 3 items on top personally. I thought that was a
Okay.
good change.
Yeah, I
might just be
wasn't
me.
not sure about it yet. I'm not sure about it yet if I like it or not. I'm just so
Well,
used to
that's what
buying
I've been
swords
saying.
all the time. I go all
That's what I've been
items and now
saying
buy
all
swords.
week is like give it a couple days, and
Yeah,
see how it feels. Like we've been playing on the same store for the last year, right? Let's see, give it some time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Other than
interesting you
that,
point
I
that
think the
out.
story is good. Yeah. Other than that, I think the story is good, except for Stormbreaker being looking weird. But other than
That's
that,
the only one. That's the only one that I've found, at least. That's the only item I've built.
Yeah,
that
I
was
didn't
weird.
go looking for other ones, but so
Anything else specifically
no.
we want to talk about, whether it be
The
controller
store
changes or the
itself-
store?
the store itself though, I really do enjoy how the 3 items you have and then the other listed items that are like are recommended, they're kind of like an opaque look. You can get, they're transparent, you can see them, but they're there, but it's a little faded. I like that feel to it, very smooth. So I do enjoy the story there. One of the things
I've actually not noticed that it fades now if you can buy it. So what is it? It goes like gray or something?
No, it's just it's kind of transparent.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I
so
need to pay attention next time.
so I can imagine the colors are vibrant, but if you can't afford it, it automatically just becomes like a dull, almost ghost effect on top of the item.
Oh,
So only the ones like if you can buy a sword and not the full item, you can see the sword in full color, and then the full item is
Okay.
grayed out a little bit. So just to kind of make it
Okay.
a little bit easier, click here sort of vibe for new players.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was nice.
Yeah, no, it's
A nice
very good.
visual cue, a small detail.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Things like that is what makes it good. The details.
So controller layout, we made some small adjustments to the default controller layout thanks to your feedback. The recall was moved from the L3. You have to click L3, which is like you're moving forward and back and left and right, to the D down on the D-pad. So that I think it just makes sense, because if you're like actively trying to move and you just like click down, all of a sudden you're like now in the middle of a fight, you're like, okay, try to recall. It's like, could you imagine that? Like that would be annoying as all hell. Like because you're just like a little too aggressive with your L3 movement trying to move forward. Like, all right, recall. You just kind of like do this little stutter because you're moving forward still. Like that would be annoying. Now you can spray while you're fighting because that got moved from the D down to the L3.
Hey, at least that one doesn't do anything, you know.
Right?
Yeah,
that
right.
one won't get you killed.
Yeah, that one doesn't
Hopefully.
make you stutter, exactly. Communication wheel, we've slightly increased the time needed when holding R3 to bring up the team communication wheel to reduce incorrect inputs when trying to ping in the world. All right, this one is Pinzo's favorite. Ability buffering. With the new ability with the new ability buffering system. With the new ability buffering system getting rigorously tested in the live game environment, a handful of issues cropped up that we wanted to address. Please note that the following changes are short-term solutions that should hopefully remedy some of the larger issues we've noticed while we continue to improve the system for the future. One of them is Blink can no longer be buffered. Max buffer duration before an input buffer is forgotten, reduced by 50%, and dashes when buffered will now take the currently held movement input at the point of activating.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is the
that's
best
great.
change in the patch.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Does that last one prevent
It's-
the accidental twin blast rolling forward type of shit?
Yeah. That's all I that's all I
Twin
hear
Blast,
basically.
It was annoying on Twin Blast. Severog's was the worst because of how long his dash is. It just puts you so far out.
Horrible.
That was the one that I hated the most. But this is the best change in the patch.
And then there was the hero changes. Okay, before we go too even far into these hero changes, I know Omeda knows about it because a lot of his partners have complained about it, but I'm putting it out here for everybody to know that we've been complaining about it. This patch layout is horrendous. All right. I get you're trying to get AI to help and make things, to easier for the team that's doing things. If this is how you're going to do it, you got to proofread it. If you don't proofread it, it looks like somebody uneducated came in here and did this, and it's not.
I'll
so?
personally write patch notes for them.
Yeah.
If they pay me.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
literally, I will sit down and write out the patch notes.
Well, give me an example of what exactly is
Just go to
kinda so
Kira.
off.
Just go to Kira.
Go to Kira.
Or Iggy Scorch. His health has changed from 620 to 605 at level 1. Max health has changed from 620 to 605 at level 1.
That's the same
That's the
thing.
exact
Richter.
same statement.
That is
Why
the
is that
exact
put
same
in
There's
there
another
twice?
one. What's Richter's? Oh, HP scaling per tick changed from 0.00 to 0.00 at levels 1 through 5.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
the
that's the
layout
one I was
is
looking for.
atrocious. It's yes, yeah.
What are these changes? Like that's like that. If you just proofread that, you would have saw it. Let's just remove that. That doesn't need to be there. And then it's still the same thing we've complained about before, is how they stagger like your level, average, because you could be level 1 or level 18. It shows you everything from level 1 to level 1 to level 18. It's like, what? That's not needed. Like, we don't need a wall of text for you to put all that in there. So I'm not going to go over all of this. The one thing with Iggy that let's go over Iggy, because that's the one he's the new guy.
Iggy's a new champ. Yeah, we can at least talk a little bit about champ.
Iggy. Let's talk about him. So I told you what his health changed to, and his max health. I don't want to forget both. The one thing that I said last podcast is I wanted the distance that he could throw his Molotov to be shortened, right? Because I feel like he could just throw it way too far. What they did change to him with this Molotov, his cooldown has changed. So now it's going to be longer. It takes longer for him to be able to throw his Molotov. So if it goes, I'm not going to read all. It's an increase on all of them. It's a 0.5 increase on every level. And his flame turret, his damage has changed from. That's an increase on damage. So he's got an increase on damage. He goes from 10 at level 1 to 34 at level 1, or level 5 to 12 at level 1 to 40 at level 5. And then his Inferno, his ultimate. All right, people were abusing his ultimate in the fact that you could get a lot of damage with his knockback. This is where he took a lot of the nerf, I think.
Yeah.
Damage has changed from 270 at level 1 at 450 at level 3 to 300 at level 1 to 500 level 3. His healing magical power scaling has changed from 1.35 to 1.5 at levels 1 through 3. And belch damage, this is where he got hit, has changed from 75 at level 1 to 40, and then 150 at level 2 to 55, and then 225 at level 3 to 70. So him even maxed out, he's losing almost 200 damage.
Yeah, the burst damage at the end of his ultimate is literally just non-existent. Now, you have to rely on the fact that while he's breathing fire, that is damage dealt. But you can't just quick cast to get a burst of damage. You gotta actually kind of even though, I mean, I didn't necessarily think that it was that crazy whenever he was ultimate.
It was more than it should have been.
You think so?
In my opinion.
Yeah?
Yeah. For a channeled ultimate to be able to choose to do burst damage is the issue. Like it's the choice that you have. They either needed to, I mean, I think this change does it fine, where you get the channel, or the other thing that I think you could have done is keep the burst damage the same, but then give him something else while he channels it. Like if he had like 50% damage mitigation while channeling it, then you would then if you insta popped it, you would lose
like a trade-off. Yeah.
There was no trade-off.
Make it a decision.
It was just burst damage. That's all you. It was burst damage knockback, and now you're done. Now there's a trade-off.
You could make it where it builds up over time as well. No, the longer you challenge it, is that the word? Then if
like
you
it'll
get like
scale
3
the longer
seconds, it does. Yeah, it does more damage if you fully complete it.
Yeah. Like
that's
that
a good
kind of
one.
thing.
So the burst is depending on how long you hold it. That would be dope.
Yeah.
The issue was that there wasn't a trade-off to it. Like there was no reason realistically to channel that ultimate. Like
you
unless you're
basically
in a 1v1 with
just
someone who
instantly
can't
pressed
cancel
it because you was gonna get the burst damage anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the buff to the turrets is wild, by the way. That's actually a crazy buff.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. I understand the adjustment of the ultimate, right? Like there's an issue there. Granted, his turrets were a little
weak.
Well, they were, but at the same time,
I don't think so.
That's not what his identity necessarily fully is. Like the turrets are more like a zone control that applies status effects while doing a little bit of damage, and then the burst came from his oil slick and the Molotov, right? But now the Molotov still does the same amount of damage, still the same amount of range. They just adjusted the cooldown by a minuscule amount, half a second basically throughout, right?
And then matter, right?
And the oil slick still does the same exact amount of damage. It still covers it. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, all that burst is still there, but now they're making the turrets hurt a little bit. I was like,
it's crazy to me. I don't know
if you needed that.
So the issue with the turrets, in my opinion, is the way that they gain HP. I actually kind of don't care about the
off
damage.
Of power?
But well, no, they scale off of Iggy's. They scale off of character level instead of ability level. So at like level 7, your turrets are absurdly tanky, even though it's not the ability you're maxing. At like level 7, your turrets have like 250 HP. Like no mid laner trades an ability for a turret. They have to step in and auto attack it, which means they open themselves up to get hit by it. Like I can walk up to the enemy tier 1 tower and put down a turret and then oil slick Molotov the wave and take 0 damage to kill their wave on its tower line. And my turret doesn't even die. It's like I think that to me, that is what they need to change about that character.
Do you think it needs to be like Bellica's drone, like that it should be
based off of
hit
the
based or whatever
upgrade on the, you know how there's multiple upgrades on it? He's saying basically have it just like any other ability. It scales from the first to
turrets
last.
gain 25 HP per hero level instead of 50 HP per level of the ability. So
right, but I'm saying like right now it's
last. They're way too tanky.
Right, but with like Fault had it with his turrets. It was like 3 hits. All you needed was 3 hits.
Oh
you got
no,
3 hits
I don't like that. So HP's the way to go. It's just too much.
HP's okay.
Because
that's what Bellica's drone is right now. Bellica's drone is you do so much damage to it. You
4 hits.
Hit it enough times.
That's why it's
4
hits,
autos. On an ability like that, it's different. On the turrets, if it wasn't HP, the turrets are the same auto. The turret range is auto attack range, so you can't.
Right.
If you're an auto attack character, you cannot auto them without getting hit by them. So if they don't want that, then they have to be killable with abilities. Otherwise, you have to reduce the turret range by like 100 units, so that at the very maximum auto attack range, I can hit it, but it can't hit me.
Gotcha.
That's the other change that they can make.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much about the heroes, right? We're good on Iggy, right?
They buffed Twin Blast.
Yeah. Well,
wait, are we still going on heroes?
Yeah, I figure we wouldn't talk about heroes. We could go. There's a bunch of stuff.
That's the only one I care about. They buffed Twin
Yep.
Blast, who was already the best carry in the game.
I wouldn't say he was the best.
I would strongly say he was the best. Go look at any tier list from the last patch and tell me where they put Twin Blast, because I guarantee every single one has him in S tier.
I'm totally not abusing Twin Blast.
Yeah,
Totally
right.
not.
Secret knows what's up.
Not. So what about this what about the buff is, like, do you disagree with, like, what do you in general?
They took 2 seconds. So half of the reason the Twin Blast is really, really good is that he's one of the 2 carries with true mobility before level 6. And they reduced the cooldown on his dash by 2 seconds.
Which already could be reduced with an.
Yeah, and he has essentially built-in Ashbringer on his dash, right? And so they reduced it by 2 seconds. Like, that character's uncatchable, especially with
refresh my
Painweaver and Dust
memory.
Devil in the game.
If I'm not mistaken, they decreased the damage on his nades or like the cooldown.
They
a little
did,
bit or
yeah. They
something?
increased
Or
the cooldown and
it,
reduced the damage on his grenades, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. And then they basically make you roll faster, which is, in my opinion, a buff, because that gives you a faster way to escape from danger.
You lose like 20 damage per grenade, and they're on a 1 second higher cooldown.
But you one-shot people already anyway, so.
Yeah, the grenades. They changed them to magic damage. Now you don't care about the grenade damage. It's just a slow, and it lasts its minions.
That's why you use the grenade for anyway, to get your passive and to slow.
Yep.
Not about
and
the
last
damage.
hit minions when you're stuck under tower.
True. Yeah, that is one.
And that's it. So they don't matter. So buffing the dash is just a buff.
Yep. True. Yeah.
So that's the only like hero change I think that I disagreed with. I'm looking through them. That's the only one that I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I don't think he needed a buff. I'll agree with that. I don't know. I definitely would have put it like a Drongo or a Kira above him. With the ADC being saying he's the best ADC. That's the only thing I disagree with in that situation.
Well,
what about the Grux buff? Actually, have any of you guys played Grux
jungle Grux buff?
I have not played. I've not played that yet.
Man, okay, that shit actually slaps. It's actually good.
Well, it's kind of nice that they're giving him some viability in the jungle now, also, because beforehand, like he always had somewhat of an identity as just basically solo because he wasn't that jungle.
Right.
But now it's like, okay, well, you do it. Back in the day in Paragon, like that shit used to slap doing a Grux.
I think it's a huge buff. I don't think it makes him, number one jungler or anything, but he is definitely not a troll pick in the jungle anymore. It is
Yeah, it makes him
definitely
viable
playable.
now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It took his movement speed away from him, though.
You mean the movement speed that was never ever listed in the game ever anywhere?
Yes, just that one. Just that one.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. It explains
Wait,
a lot on
wait,
how
wait,
Grux
wait.
ran you down at level 2, didn't it?
Yeah.
Bonus movement speed at max stacks.
Uh-huh. Which
I
he's
didn't even, hold on, I didn't even catch that shit. That's why the moment he slaps the fuck out of you, you can't
get
he
away
just
from him?
slowly
Yeah.
catches you or just walks away from you. Like, you know how many times I'd be like a Grayson or something? Like, how is he so much faster than me, bro?
Uh-huh.
What is happening?
Yup.
He doesn't have like galaxy greaves or nothing. Like, how is he moving faster, bro? Okay.
Now you know.
Why wasn't that in the game?
No one knows. Actually, no,
That is
I have talked to
crazy.
zero
When you find
people
out,
who
let
knew
us know.
about this or knew why it was in the game.
That's crazy. I didn't know about that.
I don't
But
think
I
I've talked to a
definitely
single
have said
person that
that.
knew he gave
Right?
you
Like, you
speed.
felt it at some point. It's like, that makes no sense. Wait a
I've
minute.
definitely said that. How the hell is he catching me?
How is he
How
so?
is this
That's 8
happening?
autos in a row.
What the hell? I'm not even shooting at him.
I'm
just
running
trying to
away and
run.
he's holding mouse 1. And
So
yeah,
does this mean he loses a little bit of solo viability now? He's not necessarily
so,
the same of a rundown champ?
Nope. He's still very good in the solo lane because they increased the damage from his bleed. I think he's just nuts. I think that character is actually probably decent now. I think he's probably a pretty good solo laner and he's a solid jungler.
That's my boy, man.
Weird is like, let's fucking go.
So moving on from heroes, though, going into items. I need somebody to explain this to me because it doesn't make sense as I read this, and maybe it's another thing that they need to fix on their patch notes. But their blight items, has been decreased from 0.8 to 0.75.
So
I'll to
explain
me
it.
says that's a nerf, right?
I'll explain.
But it's
I'll
not a
explain
nerf though,
because
right?
It's the way the AI looks at it. So the AI is looking at it as a factor put onto healing. So currently, because healing is reduced by 20% from these tier 2 blight items, the factor put onto healing is 0.8 times 0.8 for all healing. And so technically, the items are being buffed to 25%, but that factor that's being applied to them is being decreased to 0.75. So it is a buff, but that's the way that the AI apparently looks at it.
Yeah, we're seeing the multiplication aspect of it as instead of just saying, hey, blight went from 20 to 25%. Basically.
Which is a patch notes flub, okay? It should definitely not be written the way that it's written, all right?
Because I read that
that's why it's written that way.
Because if you read it somewhere else, it said somewhere else about about blight, and I'm like, okay. Oh, it's a horn plate. It says right here, tier 2 blight items are all having their healing reduction effects increased from 20 to 25% to make them better standalone choices against healing heavy comps should you need them. And then it says blight has been decreased from 0.8 to 0.75. And I'm like, and it literally just made my head hurt while I was at work. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know what's going on.
I agree that it's written in probably the most unintuitive way they could write it. But yeah, no, that's a buff to tier 2 anti-heal. All
right. So my favorite item in the game since they put new items in, I know a lot of people, I know Pinzo's not a fan of it, but I actually enjoy it. Onyxian Quiver, a small damage bump for Quiver to make it feel a little more punchy as a damage choice. Multi-shot AD scaling has been increased from 0.12 to 0.13.
Well, so this is another one that has a flub on it. So this is the minimum damage that's being increased. The maximum damage was also increased. So it does up to triple damage based on the distance that they travel. So before it was 12 to 36, and now it's 13 to 39. So there is a bit of a flub in there because it just doesn't state that anywhere. It looks like it's just increasing the bottom range, but it actually, the upper end also did get touched.
That, I mean, just me, again, I'm not a guy, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not Sylph in here, right? So when I look at this, I look at that, I see 0.01. a 0.01 increase is a penny, right? If you give me a penny raise, I'm not going to be too happy with you because that's not much. Like, I need more than that. Like that. What does that
I'm not
mean?
gonna lie. That's what I looked at. Also, I was like, well, that did nothing.
Yeah, like
1%,
like,
man. When you're a late game carry that, especially if you're building crit, every auto on an objective
not
especially
1%.
is hitting for 400 damage. I mean, that's an extra 10 damage in auto. It's 1%, but twice, right? So it's 2%. That's the other way to think about it, is that that's on there's 2 bullets that are both getting 1% buffed.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't look good. We gave Fault a hard time about it too when they were doing it. They would do these weird like, this hero's getting a increase to their whatever ability, and it would be instead of being 8.5, it's going to be 8.675. And I'm like, really? So a 1.75 increase, a 0.175 increase. That's what we're doing here. Like, I thank you for giving me to the third freaking decimal. I think it's a little bit much. But I mean, so it
looks weird, but as far as MOBA balance goes, this is like, I mean, it's very standard. It's very.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, as somebody, again, lower tier, I'm looking at it as from the standpoint of somebody new to the game, and like, okay, patches. I'm playing a console. Let me see what happened. I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, that did nothing. That changed nothing to it. Like, if I wasn't enjoying Quiver then, looking at this increase now, I'm like, okay, that's still not enough to make me want to go buy it still. Like, that's how I see it.
No, I understand. Because I was there once too, right? Looking at patch notes, you're like, oh, 1% damage increase or a 5% scaling increase. It's different. Like, the ones for me that are whack are like the Feng Mao buffs. Feng Mao got 5 damage added to his E and his right click. And like those buffs to me, just like those are the ones that straight up don't matter. Like base damage buffs like that are the ones that don't matter. Percent buffs are always going to be more impactful.
The new item, the Echelon Cloak, the health regen has been decreased from 0.02 to 0.01.
The mana regen also went down, just by the way. It does do both. It's not listed, but it did go down.
Bro, I'm glad you noticed these things, because I never would have even fucking noticed.
But we just need Pinzo to tell us all this, because like half of this stuff is not in the patch notes. Hello.
Yeah, I would never know.
It's not. To be fair, okay, the healing on Echelon Cloak needed to go down. That item was being bought for the wrong reasons. So
yeah. Tainted Blade. This one's interesting because it's a lot of people go other different tainted items instead of this one. So this is kind of another way to bring this one to it. A quick bump in health for Tainted Blade to allow it to better compete with other fighter items in the event you need access to sacrifice another item for some anti-heal. So you're getting health has been increased from 250 to 300.
Yeah,
that's a sleeper item already.
Bro, I was about to say Tainted Blade did not need any buff. I don't think.
Well, so you guys want the tech on Tainted Blade?
Oh,
this is alleged tech for Tainted Blade.
Alleged.
Tainted Blade is when you hit someone, you apply the tainted effect to them, and enemies that you apply the tainted effect to take 10% increased damage. Not from you, 10% increased damage. Period. So,
ooh,
just by the way, affects the rest of your team.
All right.
And people say I troll when I buy this.
Nah, dude. 5th item Tainted Blade on Twin Blast. Oof.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. I've been buying this on Twin Blast sometimes, but apparently I'm a troll when I do that. Now it's confirmed I'm not a troll. See?
There you go. I got you.
Berserker's Axe, another new item. The axe struggles to find its place in many bruiser builds. The addition of some ability haste should help it feel more accessible to the heroes that like it the most. 10 ability haste has been added to the item. The recipe's changed. I'm not going to go through the recipe. Attack damage has been decreased from 450 to 40, and health has been decreased from 350 to 300.
So this is a good change. The only thing that I have to say about this one, this is the only time I've ever seen attack damage referenced in any patch note ever. Why is it not physical power? That's my only note on this one. Attack damage.
Yeah.
I've never seen it called that anywhere else.
Bro, y'all got me questioning this little bot, bro. Like the more Pinzo's pointing out, I'm like,
Oh, I got more.
There's a lot of stuff I don't notice here, bro.
more.
I mean, we could literally talk about this patch all day, right? So if anything, we're just gonna.
We have one other really big thing to talk about, so I'm trying. I don't want to waste too much time.
Is it item related?
What?
Is it item related? The one other big thing?
No, he's talking about the report. The report
okay,
he wants.
I got you.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Assuming we were.
Yeah, we are. Tainted Scepter. Say hello to an old friend. We've brought back the old stat profile and functionality of Tainted Scepter, moving it back to ability haste and true damage instead of magical penetration and magical damage. The reason for this is the mage and supports alike felt too punished when trying to round out and slot it into their builds due to the absence of haste, making it feel inaccessible even in matches where its effect is needed and less satisfying pickup in general. So you get 10 magical penetration. It was removed. Added 15 ability haste. The recipes changed. Malice damage decreased from 75 to 60. Malice damage type changed from magical damage to true damage. Malice magical damage per stack has been decreased from 5 to 4.
I like this.
Okay.
I think this is a good change. Yeah, because the problem I think what it had before is that deckers would always pick it up and then they do a shit ton of damage for no reason.
Yeah.
And with this, I think it's gonna help just do her job, which is, heal for your team. Unless you are playing a mage decker, I guess, that is supposed to do damage.
Right.
That's like the one big example I can instantly think of with Tainted Scepter.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you're picking this up in mid a whole lot to be honest. But in support, this is a good change.
What tainted item are you picking up in mid if you're picking up a tainted item?
Not my job.
Not my job, right?
I have too many other items.
No, I understand that. I get it. That's why I was wondering, what actually is it? Because that's, because to me, moving to true damage, does that makes it viable for anybody, right?
I don't agree
in
with
that
that
sense.
job, though. You have a big ultimate. You can apply it to a lot of people.
Depends on who I'm playing, but generally, like
if you're playing like a Gideon or a Gadget,
items,
for example, you should.
I just think with the strength of the tainted defense items, I'm just never buying it in mid. That's my tank's job.
I don't disagree with that statement. Yeah, that statement's a very viable statement. But so true damage, though, that makes it viable for anybody who does any, just because it does that. It's going to do that damage no matter what, right?
Well,
it doesn't matter if you're
magic power, so you're not building it on physical characters.
True. Yeah, that's the part you're getting there. You're getting
really like the only character I really see picking this up is.
Oh yeah.
I really don't know who else is going to buy this. I think it's nichely usable in the mid lane. It has some weird interactions right now.
I can see a Belica picking it up with a drone.
So the thing about mid lane right now is if you hit someone with the tainted damage, the true damage that it deals, it pulls the wave, which is like good and bad. It's nichely usable, but like I don't know. I think it's maybe picked up a little bit more in mid now, but there's so many other mage items that you just need every game. I just don't see it.
Okay.
Like Costiga, bro. Costiga got a huge quality of life change.
Quality of life, yes.
Like, right, it's nothing crazy because the identity was still there, but it's a quality of life as to the fact that it's more constant, Well,
I think a lot of people before, they see that the magic pen increased to 40%. Like, it already gave 40% before, half the time. Right? It's just quality of life. And I think a lot of people were like, they doubled the pen on Caustica. It's like, actually, they just made it always active, So I think that's a good quality of life, but not a ginormous buff, in my opinion.
All right. Moving on. Windu's one of his favorite items to use on Iggy when he was getting that prestige skin going. Orb of Growth. A quick shift of efficacy of Orb with more upfront mana but less healing. Mana has been increased from 200 to 250. Health Restore has been decreased from 0.04 to 0.03.
That's percent, by the way, per cast.
Yes. So Orb of Enlightenment. The pondered orb is losing a little additional mana scaling on its enlightened passive to offset the upfront increase. Mana increase from 200 to 250. Art of Fortitude health restore decreased from 4% to 3%. Mana per level has been decreased from 20 to 15. So here's my question. You again, more on the patch notes and how this is written. Why is it, like you said, health restore? You said that's percent, right? Why is it written 0.04 and 0.03 and not percentage? And why is Art of Fortitude written in percents and not decimals? Like, what is the point of going back and forth in this?
I honestly don't see what's the point of writing it twice.
I don't know what you want us to say, Bearded. We have no idea, man.
Right? That's not me.
It's written in two different ways back to back. I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
Makes no sense to me. All right, let me go down here. Galaxy Greaves got touched. Everybody's favorite trolley item to have a good time with. Exchanging some armor for a cheaper cost to make the moon boots more accessible to supports, given their overall lower economy. Cost decreased from 2,800 to 2,650. Armor has been decreased from 40 to 35.
Big.
That value is insane, bro. Like 150 decrease for only 5 physical armor.
Well, and think about what does an unfinished Galaxy Greaves do for you? Like,
Nothing.
not a lot, right? 5% out of combat move speed versus a finished Galaxy Greaves that gives you the jump. Like, I would sacrifice a lot more than 5 defense for 150 gold off that cost.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like on the economy in general, that's nice. That's nice. I'll take the 5. You could have taken 5 MR away too if you wanted. Like shit. That's.
I mean, don't
do it. Don't do it. Right. Like it's a really good value now. Maybe you actually see it played more now, because quite frankly,
I already think this item's really good.
Yeah, but it's as fun as an item as it is, and as versatile, because now it's the only item in the game that gives you both physical and magic armor at the same time, because Tainted Totem doesn't do that anymore.
I mean, I know somebody that buys this every game as a first item, and I can tell you he's really happy about this change.
Yes, I know. I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about.
Is
Shift, yeah.
Is it a secret?
It's not a secret. It's Shift AC. He
All
loves
right.
it.
Yeah, that's a really good change to it. Like an already pretty good item, but that is a good buff to it.
Here's a interesting and possibly controversial change we'll go into here. Unbroken Will. Unbroken Will's healing when immobilized created far too many moments of non-interaction, with heroes such as Grux and Steel being entirely hard countered by its existence because their abilities would often heal more damage than they dealt, even when playing fights correctly and CCing their right target for the scenario. Due to this, we've opted to remove the persistence passive. Even without it, Unbroken Will serves its purpose as an effective anti-CC tool, just without the free healing. So the persistence, which is where you got healed if you got CC'd, is removed. Magic resist has been increased from 35 to 40. Tenacity has been decreased from 0.85 to 0.8.
This item is just dog shit now.
You think so, bro?
Actually,
I think it went from
unbuildable.
broken to good. Not great, but it still has its moments. It's a really good armor buff.
I'm confident that I single-handedly got this item changed, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Building this on like 6,000 HP Greystone was, I mean, like it did. To be fair, it literally made you unkillable. But I don't think this was the right way to go. I don't think this. I cannot picture a point in time where I want this item anymore.
I'm just surprised they got rid of the healing. I would have thought maybe like decreasing it, but to completely gut it, I thought I was surprised.
Which is ironic at the same time that they buff anti-heal on tier 2 item.
Well, it's the combination. Because so the other passive on Unbroken Will is when you get hard CC'd, you gain 30% armor for 2 seconds, and that combination is what made it so strong.
Right.
Because then if Steel right click then auto then dashes you, his auto and his dash are hitting 30% extra armor, which like that's what made it so strong. And I think it's the combination, but I'd much rather lose the armor.
I think it's pretty good now. I think it's better than what it was before. Let's just say that it's maybe not good now. It's probably, like you said, not as many people are gonna pick it up, but I think it's better than just healing constantly when you're being CC'd and being unkillable.
Especially,
I think
I
it was.
read
I
it.
think the
with
change
CC
is
being as
not
strong
bad.
as it is
It
in
was
this game.
ridiculous. I just think that it's
Right.
bad. I think now the item is bad because of that.
Okay. Probably have to tweak it a little bit more and find out the
Yeah, 'cause
balance a little better.
They had just nerfed it, right? They like 2 patches ago. They cut the healing on it, like considerably by like 2 or 3%, and it was
Yeah.
still
Okay.
broken.
Mhm.
So it needed changed. I think they kind of dumpstered it in doing that. That's all.
Speaking of healing, Giant's Ring, another new item. Some quick nerfs to the cost and health of Giant's Ring, as it's provided too much value as a standalone option. Cost is increased from 3,000 to 3,050. Hold 50 more gold, guys. And health has been decreased from 325 to 300.
This item's
really
nuts.
matter, right?
It
I
is
don't
fun.
think those changes matter, but that item's nuts.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Changes
it's
don't really matter.
relevant.
What is that item again? Sorry,
That's-
remind me.
Every time you cast your ult, you get bigger, and it gives you damage reduction. Long story short, basically.
Okay. So
But, you
it's
know, has
a
other
item
benefits.
version of Mantle.
Yeah, you can stack mantle
You
with
don't-
it and grow double in size.
You even get bigger?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Sapphires increases your HP. This just makes you bigger and gives you damage mitigation.
Yeah.
So they're
Gotcha.
they're kind
But
of
size-wise-
they do the same thing. They do the same thing differently. Yeah. Same effect.
All I know
Now-
is you can get so big that you can't move around the map anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently in Rampage that's ulting with Sapphires and Giant's Ring.
Yep.
Just
You can't walk
literally
through
it blocks
corridors.
it just blocks the jungle, basically.
Mm.
Now I will say Giant's Ring has actually been super clutch on characters like Grux or like Crunch that have that low cooldown on that ultimate, bro. That shit is nuts. It literally when your ultimate comes up, Giant Ring is available. When you got like a 40-50 second cooldown, like it's not, you literally can just spam ultimate and go to town. It's actually really good on those characters.
No, I
It's
think
slept
that
on.
item's good on anyone who wants to be tanky, to be honest. Outside of like Greystone. Greystone it's not as good on because it starts it gives you the effect when you start your ultimate, not when you end it, so you waste a couple seconds. But like on most characters, I think that's really good if you want to be tanky.
Stormbreaker. Stormbreaker. The changes to Stormbreaker have increased its pick rate significantly and seems to be enjoyed by many. While this is great to see, it is scaling a little too hard in the damage department and is outshining other options. So we're stripping back its maximum damage potential in the later stages of a match to bring it closer to parity. All right, the Change Zap bonus physical power scaling is decreased from 40% to 35%. Change Zap damage increased from 20 to 25. Change Zap critical strike scaling decreased from 80% to 0%. And static max stacks decreased from 200 to 150. Why don't you just say that it removes the critical strike scaling? Like it cannot critical strike on that anymore.
Okay, listen, Bearded. This is one of the more legible
It is.
items that's written in the patch notes. Please don't complain about it.
He said, "Take it, bro."
I know what's happening to this one. Okay, I can read it. And
It definitely
understand.
is. It definitely
I'm
is
not
more
gonna
legible.
nitpick.
I will say
Definitely
this
is
is a
more
big
legible.
reason why Twin Blast is so powerful, because he's probably the best abuser of Stormbreaker, and the fact
Yeah,
that
the
it's
double.
a scaling item and it's so fucking strong, that's
Yeah.
got a lot to do with it.
Yeah, because he's able to. He's basically 2 autos in it. Every other ADC's
sequence.
Yeah,
autos is
Triggers
that
it
fourth
twice as
zap.
fast.
Yeah, so he's able to take advantage of that. So I've been using this since this patch dropped. I use it a lot with my Seraph build, and I'm not feeling like it gets that big of a drop off. Like you look at it and you read this and you see that you're losing all of your crit with it. It's like, man, it's like, oh, dang it, that's a lot. Especially if every 4th attack, crit is random, right? It's not every attack's going to give you that, but like when it does happen, you happen more often. Like it's going to do some real damage. But I feel like you were able to take advantage of the stacks with the item like you're supposed to and get that benefit, especially because it's dropping to 150 now. But I still think it's still beneficial. I don't think the item drops off like that hardcore with it. It's still a good item to pick up.
in my opinion, junglers that want this item are still going to use it. Like Sarah specifically, I think this is still good on her. I think certain carries now have more build options. You have the option to skip Stormbreaker, I think now. And before, like last patch, I really don't think there was an option on most carries to skip Stormbreaker. Like it was kind of necessary.
Yeah, like you literally, like even on carries that you typically wouldn't run Stormbreaker, it's like it's a little bit too good of an not run.
Like outside of Revenant, you were running this on everyone.
I mean, the only two I can think of you built this on all the time is maybe Sparrow and TB, but other than that, like I saw people building it on Kira all the time as well before the change, but I mean, now it's kind of troll even maybe to buy it on Kira.
Kira and Murdock are the two that I think it was pretty good on before just because of the strength of the item, but now you have a lot more build potential. You have a lot,
100%.
more.
Yeah. Other than that, though, again, there's a bunch more item stuff, but we're not going to go over them because we still got other stuff we got to cover. Jungle changes. Fangtooth. Some small durability nerfs to first Fangtooth to make it slightly easier to make on in the early game. Health decreased from 5,800 plus 480 per level to 5,400 plus 500 per level. Base armor increased from 20 to 22. Orb Prime. We've reduced Orb Prime's damage as well as changing the order of the special attacks. Orb tends to use its knockback ability around the time it's within hunt range, causing fights to be chaotic and securing the objective to random. To remedy this, it now uses its special attacks in a different order, bringing greater consistency to orb engagements. Basic attack damage decreased from 120 plus 8 per level to 110 plus 7 per level. And then you have special attack order change from slam, missiles, knockback to missiles, knockback, slam. What are you guys' thoughts on the? I mean, the biggest thing in that is the Orb Prime and the order change. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I like it.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
See,
especially the Fangtooth. I mean, I haven't really noticed the Orb Prime because usually if you do it correctly as a team, you're gonna push that like so fast anyways that it doesn't even get the complete order. But it's better if you're still trying to do it early as like a 3-man or something, so you don't get annoyingly knocked back when you're supposed to smite and stuff. But I don't know, you can kind of time it anyway, so I personally think it doesn't matter that much the order that it is now.
You know, I like the to me the idea, like, hey, the adding, making it better for newer players is doing this, making it more strategic, and for you to understand how to play that route is leaving it the way it was. Because I think knowing, all right, the slam is, it's about the time that we need to, it's about to slam, and I need to smite. How am I going to play this? What am I going to do? It's more strategy involved with that instead of being like, okay, well, the slam's already, or the knockback's already done. I'm good to go. I'm free to do what I need to do here. I think it just made it more of a challenge. I don't know. I guess maybe I like the challenge of it, but I'm also not a new player right now.
Well, I think, like, for me, the biggest piece of this change is if you're trying to bait a fight on Prime, you have to eat the missiles before you fight because they come out first. And the missiles are they do the most damage, they slow, right? Like, that's kind of the way that I'm looking at this being impactful.
Okay.
Is that, like, you can't, if you start Prime, you're going to eat missiles first, which means that if you're trying to bait a fight, you're going to be lower health than you should be, than you would have been last patch, right? So I think this is overall a good change.
Then now, if you're starting Prime, you can't. You want to start it when everybody's there, so everybody eats the missiles, and you're not taking all of the missiles, right? If somebody gets there early and starts it, they take all of the missiles instead of being spread out amongst the team. So that's another thing as well. Like, you don't want to be like, hey,
point, actually.
Hey, don't start it because I wait till people get there because you don't want to take all that damage, and that's a lot to eat right there.
The other
I
thing
finally
to think about
realized why I
Prime
almost got
me,
one shots.
I've been one shot by Prime before, 100%. The other thing for me is that Prime, it's the order of its attacks don't reset in between Prime pulls. So if you were to walk up to Prime at 20 minutes and shoot it and get the missiles, and then leave for 10 minutes, when you came back and you shot it again, the first attack it would do is knockback. It wouldn't start with the missiles again.
Yeah, they should change that then probably. That
I think they
is
should
that
change
still
that as
in?
well.
Yeah, 100%. Should be like a 30-second buffer or something, and then it just
I think it should be
resets
when it hits full
completely.
health. As soon as it hits full health, its attacks get reset.
Oh,
So that way,
yeah.
if you fully drop it,
Power
when you come
extinct.
back in, it'll be missiles again.
Good idea, Pinzo. That's a good idea. Damn.
All right, higher Pinzo,
Another thing
question.
I like, and you guys can continue to talk about Orb Prime and this, and I'm going to use the restroom, be right back, and then we'll go into the report. Somebody said it in the very beginning of our the stream, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Big Doinks. It might have been somebody else. I'm sorry, but the change of the website and how you can toggle dark mode and light mode.
Yeah.
That was a great move as well, and I like how it's literally right there. You just like click it, you toggle it. You know, it's not like you have to go into settings and put it on dark mode or whatever. It's right there, and that was nice. And it's on mobile as well. It's the same thing. You can do it on mobile and change it there. It's not just on the website on PC or whatever. So yeah, you guys continue. What are your thoughts on the order of the Prime changes and stuff like that? And I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's just really affected more of, hey man, is your mid laner really gonna start it before you get there, or are we gonna actually wait until the team shows up sort of vibe? That's the biggest scene that I've seen. Choice in the chat also mentioned the baiting potential of it.
Yeah.
Also plays a big factor for sure.
Yep.
You were gonna say
I think it's a good change. I will say I did that with the damage reduction. I did 2 mana Prime today, which I feel like is a little funky.
2 mana
But when
Prime.
did you do it?
It was Grux and Greystone, and we were able to do a 20-minute Prime with 2 people.
Yeah, that's kind of
It was a little wacky.
questionable.
I mean, but is this a combination of the Greystone buff in the jungle with the Omni Vamp and everything, and maybe the build that you had?
I don't think. Well, okay,
You know what I'm saying?
Prime anti-heals.
Only if you stand on the slam.
No, it's main
Isn't
attack anti-heals. If you're tanking, it anti-heals you.
So was the Greystone anti-healing?
I made the Greystone tank it. Yeah, I was playing Grux.
Oh, then yeah. Then what does the anti-heal matter?
Well, he's still Grace. He's still losing HP. My HP was pretty good. He's still losing HP.
Listen, the
But
fact
yeah,
of the
it was
matter
kinda
is,
wild.
a Greystone Grug should not do Orb Prime at 20 minutes. That's the fact of
It took us like 30 seconds. It wasn't even slow.
Oh my god. Yeah, okay. That's not good.
Yeah. It's like if you had a carry there, if it's like carry plus tank, then maybe I understand later in the game. But no, I was kind of like, wow, that wasn't very hard to do. I'm kind of surprised we got that so easily.
I think that might be more of a Grux problem. You know?
I don't
Like,
know.
because with
I
the
think
bleed, the Omni Vamp, the fact that the ticks got to increase, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors in there applying. Like right now, what is it? First wave, your first clear in the jungle with Grux is pretty damn good, bro, as far as sustainability.
Oh, you're a one. You don't lose HP in the jungle anymore.
That's what I'm saying. That alone,
Yeah, but neither does
give him
Chimera.
the opportunity to scale, give him the opportunity to put items on. I'm not surprised that you lasted longer than normal when trying to do Prime. You probably got Prime because you lasted so fucking long.
That's why my
Yeah.
Chimera now is instantly trying to solo Prime at 20 minutes. It all makes sense now.
You can do it. You can do
He's
it, I
onto
promise.
something. I'm just lagging behind. I'm like, what is he doing? He can just do this. Oh my god. Jesus.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Predecessor report. All right. This is going to be some reading here. Season greetings, champions. As our team winds down for the holiday period, we wanted to share on the final Pred report for the year, looking back at the incredible year of Ometa Studios and looking ahead at some exciting sneak peeks, courtesy of our CEO and Commander-in-Chief, Robbie. Let's go. A word from Robbie. Hello, Predecessor community. A heartfelt thank you to each of you for your unwavering support. You're the core of our game, and your dedication is what has brought Predecessor to its current heights. This past year at Ometa has been extraordinary, although we've faced some challenges and haven't achieved all our goals. We're immensely proud of what we've accomplished to date, and we are so glad to have finally put Predecessor into the hands of PlayStation players. Looking ahead to 2024, we're thrilled to share a little more about the new developments our team has in store for you. Cosmetics. We've heard your request for more content, skins, emotes, and beyond. We know customizing your heroes is important to you, and we've been hard at work on the creation of more meta originals, including entire skin lines that we can't wait to share. While we're not ready to unveil in-game screenshots just yet, we do have some concept art of a skin that that's all set to blast off in the new year.
I will say the Howie skin looks dope. Is that the new updated version of the
to the best of my knowledge,
the chimp that got launched into space and stuff, right?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I can't tell because I can't see. It looks like
I do have it pulled up, and I think it is just because we do see in there, right?
If you go into
supposed to be like a spacesuit.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a better picture of it in the creator Discord.
In the creator Discord, if you just scroll up a little bit on the general, you'll see that Intarth put a not a side by side; they're on top of each other, but you'll be able to see them there.
Let me
That's
see.
the first time that skin art has been shown.
Oh,
right?
the before and after. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. You see it now?
Yeah.
Like the old one was concept art.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think they're both kind of concept arts. This is just a revamped. I think it's a revamped of it, you know, like because it's got instead of having the clear shield, it's got this amber shield to it.
I will say it might just be me, but I think Howitzer with a closed enclosure looks 1,000 times better than Howitzer with the open enclosure kind of mech style. You know, is that just me?
It's personal preference.
Yeah, I think it looks good on both. Okay, so yeah, I'm excited. But now again, if we're reading this, not taking it word for word, well, taking it word for word, but like understanding it, like just kind of reading a little farther into it, possibly, right? It says, we do have some concept art of a skin that's all set to blast off in the new year. We're getting a patch on January 16th. That patch is coming in with a new hero, which we're going to talk about here shortly.
Huh. Okay, I see where you're going with that.
Is this skin going to be there? It's going to blast off in the new year. Like that, to me, that says it's going to be like, that's going to start the new year in a sense.
I wouldn't say this guarantees it's this skin, but that means they have a skin that's ready, right? Because that wording right there, they could be, they showed us the Bellica with the new visual effects a long time ago. Yeah, and then they gave us a different skin after, you know?
It's alluding to we have concept art of a skin, and then that's the next, that's the concept art right below it. So I believe it's this skin that they're alluding to. But anyways, either way, it looks like we're getting something new in the new year.
Just hope they put in like an original skin, you know? Like this is all good and well. I like seeing this. I like seeing the screenshot. I like seeing the pictures. But I mean, does it really matter that much? Let me see it in game, you know? Like we have seen this in the past already, you know?
I'm in the same boat.
Pinzo, this one was written for you, okay? This next one here.
Okay, whoa. It was written for Crashy.
No, it was written for you. You and Crashy together. You guys sit side by side in the same love seat sofa, right? You guys are besties when it comes to this argument. All right, monetization. We've also heard your feedback about skin pricing. Pinzo was just complaining about skin pricings when we did the
a week ago.
The Christmas bundle. Exactly. I didn't hear Crashy complain about that. I heard Pinzo complain about that.
I heard Crashy complain about it.
All right.
I heard him too.
Crashy's still playing? I thought he's playing PTO. What do you mean?
No. He
came back
when he's been playing.
We want to ensure that players feel respected and heard, especially when it comes to spending their hard-earned money. As such, we will be adjusting skin prices in 2024. As part of this, we will also ensure that any previously available skins, should they receive a change in their base price, will refund any platinum to players that already spent money on these skins. It is important for us that all players feel included and listened to, with player feedback and sentiment being something we value above all else.
Bro, I did not expect that. The whole will give you the credit back sort of vibe. But that part, bro, that's That's a never thought Omega would do it, but kudos for doing it sort of vibe. I'll give him that.
Well, okay, I somewhat agree with you, but can you imagine what people would say if they didn't give the plat back?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if they released a premium track and never checked it with the majority of people, how they would react, you know?
I mean, I'm just saying, they've got a track record, man.
Well,
I mean,
So-
if you're gonna decrease the prices, you have to give the plot back as well. It's like kind of like
thing-
I agree.
I'm gonna put on my
It's big.
F6 hat here. I'm gonna be that positive guy, right? My thing with this is you have all those people, all those naysayers, all those negative Nancys that sit there and tell you they don't listen to feedback, they don't listen to the community. Here it is.
this is good for them
Right.
in that argument, 1,000%.
Here it is. Now, just because you give feedback doesn't mean it has to be reacted to instantly, right? Give your feedback, voice your opinion. Like there's people on the Facebook, there's a predecessor Facebook page. There's people complaining about people complaining. I don't want to stop people complaining. Go ahead and complain. Your complaints are what are going to be heard, and that's what's going to make the game better. Don't stop complaining about people complaining. You're hurting the game by complaining about other people complaining. Let them complain about their issues. That's why I let Pinzo complain about the monetization. It doesn't bother me, but I can see it bothering other people. Give your feedback. Let them know that you don't like the pricing. Let them know you don't like this. Let them know that. And they've made that change, or they're going to make that change. That's huge. They do listen to feedback.
Bro, Bearded
There's-
being on a Predecessor Facebook page is
Well, it's better than
exactly
Reddit.
what I would have expected, actually.
Better than
I was
Reddit.
gonna say it's the most boomer thing I've ever heard, but it's pretty on brand, actually.
Yeah.
I think the best way to address it, there's nothing wrong with complaining if you do it in a respectful way.
If you do
I
it the
see
right
way
way.
too many people, I see
100%.
way too many people complaining in like a disrespectful way, and that's just what's wrong about it. That's why people don't like it. If you complain in a respectful manner, I mean, it's all good, man. Thank you for the feedback, and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
If you're rage typing on Reddit, maybe not the way to go about it.
Exactly.
Hence why I'm on Facebook and not on Reddit.
I actually don't. I would also rather be on Facebook.
All right. Soft currency. Longtime players might recall a second currency in our early UI mockups. We're finally introducing a free-to-play currency early in 2024, allowing you more choice in how you spend in-game. Soft currency will be acquired through a variety of mechanics, most notably, of course, by being simply by playing Predecessor. That is fucking huge. Now, again, this also says it's going to be early in 2024. To me, it makes sense for this soft currency and again, the next thing right below is hero acquisition and affinity changes. We're going to get into that, but soft currency, you're going to want that to when you're trying to grind for the new hero that's going to get released on January 16th. Do you think they're going to have soft currency by then? It says early 2024. That could be potentially when we're going to get that soft currency.
I'll throw it out there. I mean, we haven't gone over it in the affinity changes, right? But based off of the affinity changes they're making, you remember how before we had a conversation with Ace, and it was a resource conversation of, hey,
Yep.
if resources aren't spent in A, they can now be spent in B. You know what I'm saying? Like a shift of focus. Your camera froze, by the way, Bearded. But since the fact that resources are being reallocated, maybe. I think now they're kind of like, hey, instead of just creating this whole new system, let's just kind of do a little, your camera's good. We'll just do a reassessment, focus on this new soft currency and push that out. So yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
They might be able to do it faster. Maybe they're doing it because it's faster.
Possibly.
And
We'll
at the
get
same
more-
time, they please. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll get more into it. With the introduction of soft currency, we also want to make some changes to hero acquisition and hero affinity based on your feedback. We see early access as a time to experiment, iterate, and overhaul if necessary. And we're not afraid to make drastic changes if we feel it is more healthy for an overall game. To that extent, we will be changing how hero acquisition works. Once soft currency lands, you will be able to purchase a hero outright using that new currency. That means no more wasted experience, and overall, it means more player choice. Our goal behind the original hero acquisition system was to increase player engagement before a patch launches, a time where almost all games see a general decline in engagement. Our belief was that if we could give players something meaningful to grind ahead of time, come patch day, they could be instantly rewarded with access to the new hero, increasing player engagement. While we did indeed see an increased engagement, we also found that overall the system bred frustration in the community due to the lack of player choice. Additionally, we have also decided to remove the idea of tokens and allow players to simply use their new soft currency to outright purchase premium hero affinities. You will still be able to purchase both heroes and affinities with platinum, but soon you will also have the option to use soft currency should you choose to do so.
Now, somebody brought it up in the chat. Shout out to Big Tones. Does that mean I'm gonna get, if they're giving us a refund on skin prices to get adjusted, since the affinity, the premium affinity is going to be earnable with in-game currency, does that mean I'm getting a refund on my affinity premiums I've unlocked?
No, because the change in the prices are changing. I doubt it.
That's probably stretching it.
If they change the price to that, maybe, but they're not changing the prices. It also says you can still get it with platinum. Like, you can still buy it with platinum. Like, that's still a thing you can do. So I don't see that being.
Yeah, they are also already said that you was going to be able to get it with tokens, so people
like free eventually, regardless.
That wanted to wait was going to wait anyways. So I mean, if you already bought it, that's kind of fair, I guess.
Yeah, they're just essentially just removing the whole token idea and using the currency towards that, as along with other things.
All right. Now we also get to find out how bad Pinzo really is, because we're going to have ranked play. We're gearing up to launch an early version of ranked play in the first half of 2024. First half. Okay, so that's as early, in my opinion, June.
At the end of June, yeah.
At the latest, sorry. At the latest.
At the latest, end of June.
The latest as June. All right. At the end of June, that's when that's the first half of 2024. Initially, we'll offer a ranked solo duo queue for limited time, using this preseason to gather your feedback before the launch of our official ranked season 1. Huge. So I like this because I think ranked needs to be put out first in the beta form to test it before you go out full release and try to put something new out there and have it not look good. And not run good, not perform the way you want it to. So I'm all about them testing it here and getting that going.
There's one thing about the ranked play that I hope they do first, and that's that they put in their own matchmaker first. I hope they do that and then do the ranked play. Because the way it is now, I mean, it's going to be rough.
Well, talking with Shreds, they mentioned that 2024 was what they were aiming for, of course. Granted, that's right around the corner.
The last thing I heard from Ace was that he said somewhere in February. They should. That's their target at the moment. Yeah, to put in the new matchmaker. It's not set in stone.
Jay Shreds was saying early.
Was told in Twitch chat. So
Jay Shreds was saying early 2024 for the new matchmaker. So that makes sense. Like that first quarter around sort of time. Yeah.
Yes.
And
so
then that would fit.
They do rank.
It should be in. The rank would come after that, because they're saying the first half of 2024, which could be middle of 2024. Yeah. All right. Item system overhaul. Before rolling out ranked, significant changes are coming to our item and crest systems. We're rethinking these elements to better align with our initial design goals and to enhance clarity for newcomers. In the new system, we are exploring how to provide more player choice when choosing both passive and active items, as well as the introduction of a 6th passive item slot. We're still in the early stages of this overhaul, but we're moving swiftly to incorporate your feedback as soon as possible. So let's talk about that. One, they said active items. We don't have any active items right now, so they're going to bring active items into the game.
Well, we have crests.
Yeah, that's essentially what they are.
That's an active item.
You don't build it a conventional way, but it is.
Yeah, you get it for free, but it's an active item.
The only one build. Yeah.
You get one a game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then passive. A 6 passive item. So another item slot. That is big. I'm still leaving that open. That to me sounds like they're building. It says it's an item system overall. I feel like they're gonna have active items as well, because I feel like supports are missing out by not having active items.
What if they go towards a like, what is it? Back in the Paragon days, they essentially had 6 item slots, and you could choose to have 4 active items, up to 4, in those first 4 slots. Because on controller, those first 4 slots were mapped on the D-pad.
Right.
And that's essentially the way that they worked around it. It was a combo of, hey, you can't have 6 active items, but we'll cap you at 4 and give you that ability. If you choose to do so, or you could just choose all passive, right? Maybe they're trying to lean a little bit more in that direction because they see people asking for it.
Yeah, I think they see, with this closed beta happening, I think they see how the controller is being used and how it's working, and then they're seeing options to, like, before, when they took the actives out and it made them all passives, like, it was like, hey, we need to save room for everything to work on controller. And now it's like, okay, now that we see the controller's working, how it's working, we can see it different. We could see how it can work. We can make a couple items work. And now it might not be 4, it might be 2, 3, whatever, but that's still better than nothing. And again, I think especially the supports, like, I think a support item almost kind of needs that active in that situation to kind of make them at least feel better than just standing there, like, just using abilities randomly, because you're not last hitting, you're not doing else. You're just like, okay, I have 4 abilities that I get to use, and that's all I'm doing this whole game. Like, I'm not really. You kind of feel like you're not doing much. You don't get that, like, oh yes, I feel like I've actually, did something in this game.
I mean, it's written in a way that is still very, like, open-ended. They can still kind of take it.
Ometa has been very good at wording and wording their stuff. Wherever. I remember when Fault was still out and Ometa made a post that they were going to be cross-platform. And it made everybody think, "Oh, everybody went crazy!
They're coming to PlayStation."
But yeah, when they say when we go out early access, when we come out with early access, we're gonna be cross-platform. Everybody thought PlayStation was gonna be instant early access when they dropped, and it's like, guys, think cross-platform is Steam and Epic. That's your 2 platforms, Steam and Epic. That's the cross-platform. That's what's happening. And that's what it was. But they worded it and they got everybody hyped about it, and they got the community. It was all in a rage about it. It's like, hold up, think. So yeah, they're very good at wording their stuff.
The way I read this is, we're getting a 6th item slot for sure. That's like guaranteed, and the rest is kind of like just up in the air. They're changing stuff. Okay, we'll see what happens.
It's also very possible that they just give us a 6th passive slot, while simultaneously just giving us more crest. Because giving us more crest is an option to add more actives. That doesn't mean you get to use more actives in the game.
Yeah, and it means more active items technically.
True.
Exactly.
True.
That's what I mean with open-ended. It could be that we get a slot that is currently passive, that we are going to be able to slot in an actual active item, not a crest. But it could also just be more crests, which is technically also more active items. And I guess it's kind of like I said, very open-ended. They can take it anywhere still. It's a safe, very safely written.
All right. New game mode. We've been experimenting with more casual, yet to be revealed game mode. Our latest iteration, much speculated by you, is a 3v3 mode on a new map featuring unique mechanics and an emphasis on verticality. Insights from this new game mode will inform adjustments to our main map later in 2024, while we've been gathering feedback from players for a number of months now. Our intention is to ship an experimental version of this mode early next year so we can iterate with a larger audience to find the perfect formula.
I want to throw something in there real quick. You know what I read out of that? I read they're going to give us a trial version on this map at some point, and then eventually they're going to give us the full game mode on an updated map that includes more verticality. That's how I read that.
Okay. How I read it was we're going to get it on maybe not like the greatest map, but it's still not finished yet, but a different map. But we're using it to see how verticality affects certain heroes and affects the game in general, so they can implement it in the original map or the newer version of the original map, so we can get more verticality, because that's what we've been asking for with these games, is to actually use. That's the one benefit that they have over Smite and League and Dota, is that we get to use verticality. There's no other verticality version of MOBA, that's out there besides PTO. So that's how I read that.
What did you guys think about it?
They have been wanting to try out and test like their verticality for a long time now, so this is definitely the way to do it. Casual game modes, 3v3, try whatever the hell you want, do whatever the hell you want, see what works, see what doesn't work, and see what can make it into the 5 versus 5 game mode. Definitely a good move.
Agreed. Pinzo?
I've been saying that a casual game mode is literally the #1 thing that this game needs for 6 months at least.
I've had a lot of console players ask.
I've been saying it ever since console was like on the horizon, that this game absolutely 1000% needs a casual game mode if it is going to be the most successful on console specifically that it can be. It has to have a casual game mode.
100%.
Player Quest. Player quests are a way for players to complete specific challenges to earn rewards. While we have a lot of plans for this system, our initial goal is to include onboarding challenges and rewards for new players to help introduce them into Predecessor. In addition, we will also include daily and weekly challenges for players a little further in their journey. To ensure that we're providing rewards, challenges, and opportunities all types of players, the ultimate goal is to ensure that the time you invest in Predecessor always feels rewarded. Also huge. And I feel like this is where you're going to get some of that soft currency. PlayStation closed beta. Before we go any further, I wanted to give a massive thank you to everyone in Predecessor community. The response we have gotten over this past year has been incredible, and to see how passionate you all are about Predecessor fuels us every single day. The PlayStation beta has been extremely well received, and we blew through all our targets for the month in just 2 days. We're excited to see how many players are continuing to engage with Predecessor throughout the beta. We know there's a lot of improvements to make and features to add, custom keybinds, custom item builds, and more, but we can't thank you enough for your support. Open beta. Early next year, we're planning to launch Predecessor into open beta across both PC and console. Our goal between now and then is to incorporate a lot of the changes and feedback you've shared, along with introducing a lot of what has been mentioned already in this post. Separately to that, we're also working on the Xbox version. However, there is currently no timeline we can share for this platform as of yet. So that says open beta is coming. Open beta is coming for PC and console early next year. Again, I'm saying that's Q1. That's what I'm taking as early next year.
I'm a little confused what that even means.
What do you mean?
Does that just mean that they are gonna give the game for free when they go open beta? Or?
Open beta and free to play and full release are two different things.
Okay.
So open beta right now. So right now we're in
open beta. Just means everybody has access.
Yeah. Right now the PC game is in open beta. The PlayStation game is in closed beta.
Right.
All right. So they plan on getting it open to across the platform, across all platforms that are able to get it.
Right. Okay. A lot of terms, huh? Early access, open beta, changes free to play.
I like that they
Closing
mentioned
remarks?
Xbox in there.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out
Yes.
there. I was talking with I think it was Tones again in the chat. The fact that they even mention Xbox, even though if it's a simple, we can't really talk about it too much right now, but we're still thinking about you guys. That's a nice touch that they did. That's a smart touch.
It's funny that because if you go on X or Twitter and you read the comments, a lot of the comments are like Xbox when, or like what about Xbox or whatever. And it's like if you actually would have read the post, you would have known the answer to this question. I was like, but go ahead, keep commenting your Xbox when.
So what happens when they put that at the end, bro? Some people don't read that far.
Right.
Some people just look at pictures.
Closing remarks. We're excited to embark on this journey with you in 2024 and can't wait to share more updates soon. Your enthusiasm and feedback are what drive us to continuously improve and innovate. Stay tuned for an incredible year ahead with Predecessor, Robbie Singh, CEO of Meta Studios. All right. PlayStation Closed Beta. We're just over 2 weeks into the PlayStation Closed Beta, and we couldn't be more thrilled with your feedback, support, and love you've shared with us for the Predecessor. Oh, don't say for the Predecessor. That's weird. The Predecessor. As Robbie said above, we've been blown away by everything that's happened these last few weeks and months. With that in mind, however, we wanted to give a few short updates on some CBT-related news. PlayStation Closed Beta end date. In case you missed the news, we've extended the PlayStation Closed Beta. Instead of ending the first week of January, you can now play freely until January 29th. Play Together, Win Together event. Shortly before we launched the CBT, we introduced a small event that rewarded the whole community with some exclusive goodies based on the total number of referrals we got. You can see the details in this handy image below. So yeah, it was like 20,000 referrals, you got a free icon, 30,000 referrals, you got a free banner, 50,000 referrals, you get a free skin. The issue I have with this, before we go any further, is they gave a bunch of codes to a bunch of us partners to be able to hand out. All those codes that we handed out were with lack of referrals. They don't count as referrals, and we were handing out codes. We were handing them out.
We're still handing out codes.
Right. So I'm wondering, it's
almost like we're hurting the goal.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Stop giving codes, man. Yeah. God damn it.
We're hindering the team, but all of us to do that. That hurts, I think. And that's something that when I was reading this, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Because I'm like, I don't have a referral code, but there is a link here you can click later on to it says get your referral code here.
I will add I don't know if that's 100% the case because they haven't confirmed it, right? Maybe our numbers are being considered because all the codes that we got are trackable. You get what I'm saying? They can easily go back to the document that we all have, all partners have access to, or we grab codes from, and they can literally just be like, all right, this many codes were given by partners, add that to the referral count.
Yeah. They need to do that. If that's not what's being done, that needs to happen, I think, because that's how they were referred. They were referred by us. So I believe that would need to happen because right now it's the first thing first. We hit the top milestone, and that means that everyone is getting a fantastic new profile icon to celebrate, and that is Kira and Murdock. Murdock's macking on Kira right here. You can tell he's trying to see to take her out to dinner.
I think you're projecting.
No, that's just what's happening, man. I know my boy Murdock.
Hey, man, I see Murdock smirking, bro.
Yeah, you see that smirk there,
I see that side going like, I'm like, yeah. I see Murdock.
Jesus.
I'm just saying, bro.
Right.
That looks like they're going to the shooting range, if you know what I mean.
We're also just a few hundred referrals off of unlocking the free banner. Check it out below. All right, so it's that icon into a banner form in a sense. More smirking. All right. There's still a month left on the PlayStation Closed Beta, meaning there's still time to unlock the banner and that final reward tier, the snazzy new and free Greystone skin. Help us unlock the banner and Greystone skin by referring more friends. You can find your unique referral link, and there's a little click here to get a referral link.
We haven't gotten
no,
any indication of what Greystone skin, right? We don't know
No, we have no
like
clue
what it's
looks
modeled after. It could be a recolor for all we know. We have no
Correct.
idea, right? Okay.
Correct.
So
Rewards
cool.
will be added in a game update after the closed beta has concluded. Now, here's my thing. They have this skin sitting aside, right? And I'm not saying we should all tank this and not try to get it, but my question, what happens if we don't get it? What happens to that skin? That skin just...
I'm assuming it'll just end up in the store at some point for sale.
Yeah,
They
they
put
just
it-
release it, but you have to pay for it.
They put it in the closet? All right. So yeah, you got to pay for it in that sense? All right. Maybe that's what's happening. So again, like I said, they need to go through and find all the partner codes that we've been giving away and put that to the list, because there's no way for us to give a link to the person that we're giving a code to
Listen,
use
guys.
that link and code.
If we don't get 50k referrals, it's a skill issue.
It's a skill issue. I will say though, as a carry main, I actually really like this banner, personally. I know how it might not
for
fit
sure,
for
yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
but as a carry main, those two
Oh, yeah, I
lovebirds
like
right
it.
there, that looks dope. I'm digging that.
I mean, it's Kira. It's my most played hero. Couldn't be better.
Murdock's my boy. That's he's always been my favorite. All going all the way back to Paragon.
I don't like the way
which-
Murdock is looking at her, but
Reminds me.
I'm getting a little jealous, but besides that,
Reminds me, when we leave, before we leave, when we do our outros, we gotta ask Secret his favorites. All right. So remind me when we get to that point. PlayStation closed beta keys. With the beta extended, we've been asked if you need a new key in order to play past the original end date. Luckily, this isn't the case, and so long as you've redeemed a key already, you're all set to play until the end of January. Additionally, we've seen some feedback of players redeeming keys, but getting a message stating that the key you tried to redeem has already been redeemed. This is a bug, and most of the time you can still you can find that the game has been successfully added to your PlayStation account if you check your game collection. Lastly, we're moving away from distributing keys via waves. Going forwards, you will receive your key a few minutes after signing up on our website. There's a link here you can click straight to your email. Be sure to check your spam box/filter. Want even more keys? You can claim up to 5 of each region and a platform, each region and platform over on our Discord. Join the fun here, and there's
That's
a link
cool.
you can click there.
that's cool. You can grab the keys for your boys on your group squad and stuff. That's a
Yeah.
nice little quality of life thing. I'll give them.
Yep, and it's cool because all you got to do is like you go to pretty much, I think it's any chat or channel in the Discord, and you hit like /claim, and then you hit enter, and then it sends you a personal message, a DM. It doesn't send, it's not put in the chat right there, so it sends you a DM and it gives you the code there.
yeah, it's something like that.
All right, now this part I have a little bit of a gripe with it, and I'll explain after I read it. Steam Winter Sale. With all the recent console excitement, it's only fair we share some love for PC users. It's time for the Steam Winter Sale. Starting today, specifically at 6 p.m. UTC, don't know what time that is, you can grab Predecessor and any of our bundles at a fantastic festive discount, making it a great time to join the fight alongside our new PlayStation champions. What I don't like about this is it doesn't show you
Yes.
anything. It doesn't tell you if it's a 20% sale. It doesn't tell you if it's a 10.
Oh.
It doesn't tell you anything.
Like a
you
screenshot of the
don't-
store, for example.
Yeah. Give us something to let us know what those prices are going to be to entice us to go buy it. Right now, usually when you don't show the price, it's too high. That's what most things that in marketing do. Like, hey, that's too high of a price. Let's not show the price. We got to make them, get them to go in there. Like, why do you show the price? Like with the Epic one, well, Epic was free, but there was a sale that was going on. There was they showed the prices before, and they don't have it. They do have a link for you to click and go to it,
Yeah,
but a screenshot or something to show you like a nice little picture to show you what it's doing, how much of a sale it's going to be, or telling us it's going to be a 20% sale or a 50% sale,
incentive
whatever
to
it is.
click on the
I
link,
don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
I get that.
Um,
Now, I will say, I find it. I just noticed you reading it. I didn't even realize before that this is only Steam. If I'm an Epic Games type of person,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of
Well,
annoying for those people.
well, Epic had the chance to pick everything up for free.
Right.
well, not everything,
Yeah.
just the base game.
True. So then
They
was there a,
They got access to the game for free for a week, but everything on the store is still the same normal price. While Steam gets a discount, Epic gamers don't. And for example, my main account, the one that it's connected with like Predecessor as a partner and stuff, is an Epic Games account, not a Steam account.
there
Well,
was somewhere, I'll have to go back and find it, or maybe somebody in chat can remind me or help me remind me. There was somewhere before that the bundles went on sale, and that might have been Epic already. So this could be that Steam's chance. Like, again, it's not when Epic did it, it probably wasn't during Christmas time or whatever, but like Epic did get the free, hey, pick it up for free. That option. Steam hasn't had that option yet. So I don't know. I feel like there was a time that the bundles went on sale before. So I'm not too hurt, on the Epic team, them not getting the love, because they got love somewhere else.
I have the prices pulled up if you want to hear the discount prices.
Hit me with them.
The base game went from, what is it? It's normally $9. It's $4. It's 55% off. And both of the bundles are 10% off. So 27 and 54.
Okay. Nice. There we go. Yeah. See, now
$4
that would have
to
been
join
good.
ain't bad.
No,
Not bad at all.
not bad at all. Not bad at all. Winterfest reminder. With the holiday season truly upon us, let's not forget our first major in-game event too. Winterfest is still ongoing, meaning there's still time to unlock those cool rewards and pick up those epic new skins in the store. Winterfest runs until January 2nd, 2024. Find out more about the rewards and skins available during this time over in our version 13 blog. This was something really cool. I really enjoyed it. I say that in a past tense because the fact that I'm already finished with it. That's the one somewhat negative with it, I think. It's a positive, but it's a negative, right? Like I was able to get everything, right? So I don't have that FOMO that I'm missing out on something because I was able to acquire everything, but I acquired everything. It's
relatively easy.
It was 21 days or whatever when it first got released. I got everything done in 2 days. So if I got everything done in 2 days, which, okay, yeah, maybe I gained more than the average person, 21 days is still plenty. It's like I almost make it a little bit more like, XP. You have to get a little more to go to it, maybe. I don't know. Like, I just felt like it was almost too easy to get everything.
They could make it slightly longer, but it's more like a gift, right?
Yeah, like let's say, for example, everybody's a little bit busier during the holidays usually. Maybe they're tailoring to those that can only play 1 or 2 days here and there,
play more than most, probably, so...
I still feel that I don't do that, though. I play like 4 hours for 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. That's about what I play.
You sure that's more than the average?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, I'm
16
still...
hours a week. I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, I as a content creator, so I'm doing it more for making content in a sense. But like, so yeah, you have an average gamer. I get it. You have an average, but again, like, I did it in 2 days. Like, I'm still a guy that's going to work every day, spending time with the wife and kids. Making sure the weekends are for the family time, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays when I'm gaming, and one of those days is the PREDCAST days sometimes. So like, I'm not like, it's not like I'm getting a bunch of like games in. Because every game's lasting 30 minutes to 45 minutes a thing, so I'm playing 4 games a night, possibly 5 games a night. Like, it's not, again, like I said, the XP was pretty easy. You're getting,
I think it's about 15 games, something like that, to fully get it.
Yeah, because like if you,
I don't mind it. You know, it's supposed to be a gift for Christmas anyway,
No, it is, and I don't, like I said, I like the fact that I was able to complete everything. I just, like, right now I'm at the point where I'm not, like, I'm not doing any Christmas events right now, and I would love to still be doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I finished that race. I wish that race was a little bit longer. I want to still. I almost want to like, hey, let me play on your account because I want to still do the Christmas event. Like let me unlock some things. You know, I'm at that point.
Affinities, man. Why do affinities?
I've been doing that. I just got the Saris prestige skin. You know, that's something I'm doing no matter what. But that's not a Christmas event. That's a every day of the game of the year event. So I'm still doing that. I'm just saying, like, I just wanted a little bit more out of it. I'm happy everybody got it. And there was somebody in the partner guild that kind of felt a little bummed at first when they found out that, like, hey, like you unlock Feng Mao, but they already had Feng Mao unlocked. But I explained I explained it to him. It's like, but if you got a skin for somebody you didn't have unlocked, that'd be feels bad, man. So I'm just like giving that skin with the hero at the same time is more like that. And then as soon as I said that, they're like, makes sense. I get it. Makes sense now. Like, because I would hate that.
I'm just in a completely different boat on that. I actually don't like limited timed events because I feel forced to play the game then. I like stuff just put in the game like affinities that I can grind whenever I want. When I get limited timed event stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I'm forced to play. Fuck.
But that's the end goal, right? That's like legit the whole purpose of it. Player base will spike, people, fear missing out and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I just don't like it.
See, I'm on the opposite side, bro. I prefer.
I know, yeah.
Like if there isn't an event, I'm like, you know what? I might go play another game sometimes. There isn't an event going on. I'm gonna go play this game over there because they got an event going on. And then the moment there's an event here, I'm like, yo, I gotta go run back. Like Destiny and stuff like that, right?
When they released Affinity, you did like 24 hours. I was like,
whoa, don't call me out. Don't call me out, bro. Don't call me out.
I like limited time events that are achievable. I don't like limited time events that are like that. Just you don't like it, the grind is almost too unreal. Like you have to know life it to be able to complete it. Those are the ones I don't like. And I'm just saying this is just just slightly to the too easy side of it, right? I want it a little harder. I want it to be achievable still for everybody because it's Christmas. Make sure everybody has time to get it. But I want it to be like, I just feel like this is too achievable in that sense. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have stats that show that the people really aren't playing as much. Like maybe I'm way above average and I feel like I'm closer to average. Maybe that's where I'm at.
I mean, no, it's valid. It's definitely easy for sure.
Let's be mindful. This is the first event that we can officially track in game.
Yes, that's huge.
Right? Unlike the whole Greystone event that we had no idea what was going on for like 2 months.
Yep.
Like, I'm just glad that I could track it. Whether it's easy, whether they make it harder, it's like, hey, there's an event that got put in-game main page that people can just always easily see and track their own progress.
I liked the track bar too. As it filled, it became like a candy cane like swirl type thing. That was really cool. Maybe a little Christmassy with it. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I liked unlocking it. I like having the new sprays now. You got the Christmassy sprays that you can add to it. Those are good. I got my little Krampus, spray that I get to put on my blue buff. I'm all about it. All right. A new year brings a new hero. With 2024 on the horizon, version 14 is slowly coming into heavenly focus. With it comes our first new hero of the new year. Usually we tease the new hero about a week or so before the update, but given our PlayStation pals are only with us for the short time, we wanted to give them and everyone else something exciting to look forward to. So who might our next hero be? Kwang. That's right, champions. The legendary Blade Master Kwang is joining the fight in version 14. Grab your heavenly blade and look forward to carving a whole new meta game with this deadly fighter when he arrives in game January 16, 2024. Is this enough to bring Mangoose back just so I can hear him say Kwang a few more times in my ear? I would love that. I miss Mangoose.
Bro, honestly, the the little icon that they gave him with the sword and the dragon is actually pretty fire.
Yes. Yes. Yes, I'm all about it. That's great. I'm excited, especially because now that I became more of that offlane main, Kwang was never somebody that I actually played that much. I tried to learn him and get better with him a little bit in Fault. Because to me it's the button combos. I didn't ever understand it for him. It's like, all right, hit this button and then this button, and you get better healing off of it, and you do more damage this way. I would just go in and spam buttons, and then I would die. I'm like, how do people tank with Kwang and I can't? Like, what's going on? Like, why can't I do it? Because for those of you who don't know, Kwang has lifesteal in his kit, in the original kit and in Fault's kit. Predecessor could change it and it could be completely different, so don't quote me saying that's what was going to happen. But normally, if you're keeping the kit normal, he's going to have lifesteal in his kit, and that's where I was like, how do people they're able to tank pretty much with that lifesteal, and I couldn't do it. I was really bad at it. So, but now to become more of an offlane main, I could work on it and probably get better, have a new person to play as.
I mean, he had a passive, so I just want to know what his new ability is.
Was Kwang the hero? I mean, I only played the early versions of Paragon, and I remember when Kwang was around, he could teleport around the map with his ult. He put his sword down, and then he
wherever his sword is, he goes to it.
Yeah,
that was how
he
it was
can go
before.
to his sword. Yep.
That's still how it was when Paragon ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could pretty much drop your. So
that was kind of his identity, to be honest. You could do that in the middle of a team fight and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. That was so fun, actually.
Yep. You could throw your sword to run away, and then kind of like Countess. How Countess uses her Q, she could use it and then use it to escape. You could do the same thing with
yeah.
Big news, by the way. We do have it confirmed that Joey is down to do a return to the Predcast for that Kwang episode. I was talking to him about it. So whenever Kwang's about to come out, when you got the hero kit release and stuff like that, you guys can count on Joey being back on the Predcast. So big shout out to the homie there.
So that's the 16th. That episode is going to be the 18th? Because that releases on Tuesday, or it's probably the 17th. Sorry, let me pull up my calendar here real quick.
Yeah, we're good. If anything, we'll let everybody know closer to the day.
The 17th.
No problem there.
January 17th. It'll be the day after the patch. All right. That's what we'll have Joey on. Send him that DM to verify that, to make sure he's good with that date. So after that, we have Community Roundup. We're not the only ones making cool things this time of year. Check out some of our favorite picks from the community. Small heroes. How could we not include the most adorable fan art ever? ? We love these cute little small heroes drawn by, I'm sorry, I'm going to say the name wrong, but Dean, DIIN 126. Here's hoping we see a small version of Kira soon too. So we got a Countess, we got a Shinbi, and we got a Mori. These are actually pretty good. I do like these, especially the wolves with Shinbi. They did a really good job.
Yeah, it's quality. Got some talent.
Yep.
I like that they're doing shout outs again. This is just big in general, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these shout outs, sometimes these people end up creating art that ends up in the game. For example, like sticker art and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it's just nice in general to see more community involvement.
I feel like this artist, this Dean, or I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, but this artist here and Predecessor could team up and then work with Funko and make these into Funko Pops.
That would be awesome. Funko Pop figures.
Because these kind of give that Funko Pop feel to it. That would be awesome. All right, screenshots. It's not just artwork that caught our eye this month, though. Check out some of the favorite screenshots shared with us over on our Discord server. This Richter pole, man, that freaking Christmas light strand, Griswold fucking pole. Great.
It seems so far.
It does seem really far, but that's probably max pull.
It's the angle, but
yeah, that's probably max pull. All right. And then you have the backing animation with Grux, with Xeris here, with the Affinity skin. That's a pretty badass one. And then we have the Grux, the Richter Pull was by Cosmic Juice. The Xeris back is by Zig Price. And then we have Gideon alt with some lightning going on by Volume. All right, then we have Iggy and Scorch 5-minute doodles. Earlier in the month, we gave Discord 5 whole minutes to doodle Iggy and Scorch in MS Paint. Despite the tight timer, you didn't disappoint. Some were super artistic, like Alsace's minimal line art. Others were a little more abstract, like Eclipse's masterpiece. So Alsace, we've shot out Alsace multiple times on here, and some of our other content we do. They do great artwork, and this for 5 minutes, they did a great job with Iggy here. There's no Scorch involved, but the Iggy drawing here, pretty badass. Eclipse, that's about my drawing style. So great job on that. The fire actually looks really good. Change up the colors, and then. Everyone's submissions were excellent, of course, but I'm taking this opportunity to specifically shout out our very own CEO, Robbie, for his magnificent talent and contribution. Robbie, that's better than what I could do. I'm up there with Eclipse doing that style. So this is a great version. I think your fire could be better if you took some notes from Eclipse, though. Yeah, give me some red, give me some yellow, give me some orange, give me fuel, give me fire. Truly wallpaper material, though. All right.
I'm sorry to be that guy, but that Scorch is a little sus. Scorch is a little sus, bro. That drawing at a school would have the kids see a psychiatrist immediately. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That would warrant a visit to the school doctor at least, or the school psychologist. That's a little sus.
He didn't even draw that. That's just he used the shape tool. That's cheating. I don't even want to hear it.
Where did he touch you? He touched me in the Scorch. All right. FG's predecessor. Okay. Sorry. All right. FG's predecessor guide. With so many new players joining the game, it can be hard knowing exactly where to start. Luckily for us, Empty is working on a mega guidebook covering every hero, giving expert recommendations, and breaking everything down in a way that makes sense to even the newest MOBA player. All right, check them out on Twitter. X, it says X/Twitter. I love that. Thank you. And support them on this epic project. I'm interested to see what Empty's gonna have here with the final product, because I've seen some of Empty's got some little tips, like 10 tips or whatever for this or whatever. He's got some videos out there, and they're great little tips, like things you didn't know that were actually in Predecessor. Like the one that I remember was if you're in duo lane or an off lane, if you back up towards the you're still on the higher side, but you back up towards the buff, like the either gold buff or cyan buff, you'll lose minion aggro. Like that's something like a smaller player isn't going to understand, that if they just back up to that little spot, minion aggro stops. Like I thought that was huge news. I'm like, holy cow, that's actually pretty cool.
Hey, I'm just throwing it out there because you're gonna get a kick of this. Mangoose just DM'd you and me saying, "I'm glad you guys pronounce Kwang properly." So shout out to the goose out there, bro.
I got you, buddy. Thank you. That is awesome.
I knew you'd get a kick out of that little DM. Yes. Shout out to the homie. I can't with him, bro.
Thank you, buddy. I did it just for him. I literally made sure I said it right. All right. A Meta Studios Christmas wind down. With the holiday season truly upon us, many of us here at Ometa are now officially winding down. Please don't expect any further game updates or news until the new year, and please be patient when submitting support tickets, as it may be a week or so until you get a reply. Some of the team may still be around on Discord, etc., but please be mindful of their free time and try to leave them to be leave them be to enjoy their holidays. Thanks in advance for your consideration. As Robbie has already said, this year has been simply incredible for everyone here at Ometa Studios. We're so grateful to everyone in the Predecessor community, and we can't wait to spend another amazing year working with you all to make the best possible game we can. Enjoy the holidays, eat well, and we'll see you next year for version 14. Kari, community lead. That's all great, man. There's a lot there. I know we unpacked as we went, but there's a lot there, and I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. We'll have to wait and see because they have made a lot of promises in the past, so it's probably not a bad idea to be a little bit cautious. They have also chosen to write some of the topics very safely. But overall, it's definitely something to look forward to. Let's hope they don't fumble the bag, because if they do, that is not gonna look good.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, they got to tread very
But-
carefully.
There's a lot of things said in here, and
But-
the things that they said are good. I gotta see them in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It is good to be optimistic. I like it. They said a lot of good things. Now they just gotta do it and execute the plan, and show that they're worth trusting and that they can pull it off. And because I am gonna be honest, if they fumble this year, that's really gonna be really bad for them. This is the year for
They need to
them,
be on a
okay?
streak. Yeah.
2024 is your year, Ometa. Don't fumble it.
Yeah, they need to show 2024 that they learned from their mistakes that were made in 2023, and that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. It's if you learn from them or not is the issue. That's what you got to do, and they got to prove in 2024 that they learned from their 2023 mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. We're at a good point right now. We're in a good position. Like the if you go on a Meta City and you see the game number of games played, throughout the week, we're still up there. We're putting good numbers out there right now, and that's we're not putting out the numbers when the closed beta first opened, but you expect a drop off, right? But we're still putting out better numbers than what we were doing without PlayStation involved, right? So PlayStation is a huge increase to us. So I agree with you. They have to prove that they've learned from their mistakes. I want to go around the table here, though, and I want everybody to point out the one thing that they're the most excited about with this upcoming 2024. So we'll start with the order that we introduce ourselves. So Secret, Pinzo, myself, and Windu go around, and what is the one thing with this report that went on? What's the thing you're most excited for?
For me, it's an easy one. It's ranked play. I think a lot of us are waiting for that. Look forward to that. That's
why would a bronze player like yourself be excited for ranked play?
Because I can learn from the best. Exactly.
Gotcha. All right. Pinzo.
All right, well, Secret kind of took mine, but I'll go with number 2 for me, which is 6th item slot. I think it's been I said this in a tweet earlier today, just talking about the blog, and basically I do really like that Ometa was willing to try some interesting things like that are different from what you'd normally see in a MOBA, 5 item slots and a crest versus 6 normal item slots, whether or not some of those are active. Smite has relics instead of active items and all that kind of stuff, right? Like there's different formulas, but they all kind of are the same, and Ometa tried this other one, and a lot of people have been saying it for the last year, that kind of 6th item slot syndrome. A lot of items would be really nice to have in builds or be really good if you could buy a 6th item. So I really like that they're at least open to trying that if they're testing it behind the scenes, that kind of thing. I really like that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that as well. A 6th item, there's a lot of times that we're getting close to end game, or we get to end game, and I'm able to use, I think I bought 3, 4, maybe 5 tonics because I've had so much gold. I wouldn't have that much gold if I put it towards an item,
Well,
so
I will
that's another thing as well.
I think that if they add a 6th item slot, then I think they need to increase the amount of gold that you get from minions. I think if I had to guess right now how many games I could afford a 6th item in, of the games that I've played this week, less than 10%, I would have.
Yeah, no,
item.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you that there are those games, the shorter games that you're able to run through. That I was cooking up a new build with talking with chat, and it's my sixth. It's my right now. It's my fifth item that I was like I was like halfway through my third item, or no, halfway through my fourth item. I didn't even get to full build my fourth item, so I never got to put my new build together. I was like, oh, come on. I was like, that's that one item I was missing. So like, there's times that you're not going to get there. So I do agree that there's going to be a slight increase there as well. But I think again, putting that sixth item on is still going to alleviate those times that all you're doing is spending, buying tonics for those longer games.
Yeah. My point was like, if they're going to do that, I think they will have to rework the economy as well. Whether that's giving more gold, decreasing everything in gold. I would rather them give us more gold. I think that is the better solution in my opinion. But I think that's really interesting.
All right, so I'm fumbling between two right now. For my top choice.
But I say pick one because you can't mention two and then leave me out here be like,
leave you with nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna pick one, but I'm fumbling between two. And then once you say yours, if yours isn't my other one, I'll say what my other one was. But for me, the best one I think is overall community wise, not just for me, is the fact that PlayStation Open Beta is projected to be early 2024. I think that's the biggest news, because if we think about it, before we had PlayStation, we were hurting for player base. We got PlayStation, we're no longer hurting for player base. We just need them to learn the game, and once they learn the game, it's going to get better for all of us. So the fact that they're trying to get them to come back as soon as possible, and we're saying early 2024, I think that's the biggest news in here.
Yeah, for me, bro, that's actually not one of mine at all. So I'm torn between two as well. But I would say the biggest one for me is the cosmetics in general, banners, icons, skins. Because
gonna say this.
Yeah, because bro, the Revenant skin, I bought it. I'll say it. I bought the Revenant skin. Son, honestly, I'm loving it, and it gets me excited as far as potential with VFX changes and stuff like that, right? So then knowing that they might give us brand new Omega skins down the road, considering that they've already been practicing on VFX changes and stuff like that, right? That means that down the road we might be on the cusp of some pretty spicy shit that's about to go. So I love that. I love the fact that, like cosmetics as far as like rank borders might be coming in with the rank that you guys are gonna start seeing and stuff like that. I dig anything visual that can be a flex, that can be a show off factor. I love all that shit, bro. I love going into the game and being the green Drongo random as I can, So shit like that, I'm super excited about. The other one that I was gonna say was just the 3v3 mode, because I'm gonna be in the casual mode, the little kind of fun warm-up mode, so to speak, and then go straight into rank. I'm gonna be between those two, mate. Okay.
I was the 3v3 mode. If you didn't bring that up, I was going to bring that up as like the community that's probably what they're most excited about. I'm not that's so I'm going to be more selfish with the other one that I was like fighting between. And the selfish part is the soft currency. Just because I'm that guy that I've always been frugal with my money. Like I've said before on plenty of these episodes that I never put money into a game until my son started gaming, and he wanted he wanted skins on Fortnite or whatever it was, so I buy him the battle pass for Fortnite. That's like the only time I put money into a game. I don't put money into these games. I'm just that guy, but I put my time into these games. I pay you with my time that I'm actually playing the game. That's where I feel like the free currency comes in, and I think that's going to be huge for the game, for player retention, in the sense that you do get rewarded for playing the game. You're actually going to want to grind and do things with that. So that's my second one that I was fighting between, but I definitely think the PlayStation coming early is going to be huge for this game.
Agreed.
Yeah, man. So is there anything specifically that you guys want to go over before we start doing our outros and stuff like that? Any subjects that we might have missed? Anything you guys want to cover?
I want to say one thing really quick.
Hit it.
I am actually looking forward to challenges as well. Totally
Really?
missed that part, but yeah.
You what?
That
Like
is
the
fun. I
challenges.
look forward to.
Oh,
just
yeah, the
doing
weekly challenges? Yes.
Just fun challenges. I like
Yep.
that. That's all I want to say about it.
Yep.
Huh,
So
okay. That one caught me by surprise. I thought like it's cool, right? Like for me, challenges are one of those things where it's there. I don't really care for it, but in between matches, I find myself looking at it and be like, "Shit, I gotta get another kill on Fangtooth." Like, hey, let me kill Fangtooth next time. Don't get the last hit. Let me get it just so I can get this challenge off of my screen, bro. So like OCD kind of kicks in, but
right. I do believe in those challenges. It does say as a team though, so you're good with that. Like like destroy 30 turrets as a team. Like
You
like
can
so
just
some of
stay in
this,
your
so
lane.
you don't need to be
Exactly.
that person to get that in that sort of. There's probably going to be some of those that you're going to need like minion kills. Like you're gonna need, don't play support if you need minion kills. Okay, that's my little shout out to the community. That's my little tidbit for you. If you're looking to get your quests completed and you need minion kills, don't play support. Okay.
Getting
Sports
all
need
the
gold too,
towers,
man.
all the kills, all the Fangtooths, all the orb primes, and then I might finish the game. Okay, potentially.
Yeah, could you imagine people are ending the game because they want to get the Fangtooth now? Like, we got to go back and get Fangtooth. We can't end right now, even though it's an easy finish. Like, oh my gosh. All right. So I meant to ask this earlier in the intros or whatever afterwards. Secret, you played Paragon, right? You said you played early Paragon.
Early, yeah.
All right.
Not super long though.
All right. So at that time, who was your favorite hero to play as, and who was your least favorite player to play against, or hero to play against?
Oof. My favorite hero to play, probably. I just played Sparrow all the time. I remember
Okay.
just playing Sparrow all the time. It was easy.
Okay.
I just had to hit stuff. That's it.
Yeah.
It's probably where I'm an ADC now again.
Yeah.
he feels nice right now, bro.
And my least favorite hero was probably something super tanky, because we all hate tanks as ADCs.
Bro, if you like
Get out of my
Sparrow,
face.
you hated
Let
Chimera.
me kill you.
You hated Chimera
Okay,
if you like
but
Sparrow.
that's a good one. Yeah, so somebody like that, somebody that can get on top of you. I hate those.
I'm actually, because all right, so I'm more of an solo lane main now, but I came from an ADC main, and I would rather go up against a tank 100 times out of 100 than go against a Kalari. I cannot stand going against a Kalari, and that's
Against
because
the Kalari you can build.
I'm not worried about building. It's the invis, like it's the not seeing her and then her just unloading on you. It's like that's the annoying part. That's like
Right.
if she doesn't have invisibility, like a Countess is the assassin, just like Kalari, right? You can see a Countess coming, and you can counter it when you see it coming.
Threads,
When you don't
build
see it coming,
Stonewall. She's
it's-
useless.
building Stonewall on ADC is almost throw.
No, it's not. It's
It
not.
actually
This
happens
was
more than
the
you
right
might
of
think. It happens more than you might
I don't know
think.
what anyone's telling you, but we're Wolverine.
Nobody's telling me. That's just my that's me came from my own head. Nobody told me anything. That
Toss
just feels like
right
that.
out of your own head.
Pinzo knows his tech, you see. Pinzo knows the tech.
Hey, I've been around. Okay.
Okay, good.
Bro,
I've been around to
More like
block
you've
this
been
up.
targeted, bro.
I have. I've been hate crimed one too many times, so that I know. Stonewall fifth slot on carries.
Yeah, as a-
I got
as a
I
last
got
slot, it
killed in
comes
front
in
of my
clutch.
inhib. I got killed in front of my inhib while I still had 2 of my towers up by a Kalari today. Talk about hate criming. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I just can't. That's that. If you get rid of that hero, I would love this game even more than I love
yes,
it now.
get rid of
Like,
assassins.
not assassins.
good.
Get rid of Clary. I'm just
No,
Clary in
assassins,
general.
Any
Countess is
assassin.
worse.
Yeah.
Any tank as well, get them out. Anything that, takes a long
Make it Call
time
of
or is
Duty. Let's
annoying.
play Call of
just-
Duty.
Right?
Just remove
Carries only. Just make it carries only.
Yeah.
Do what's right.
That's the new 3v3 map. It's carries only. That's all it is.
Imagine.
All right. So that's my last thing that I wanted to get off. I want to make sure we got our med kit question for a new guest. So we got that out. Other than that, again, I'm excited for the future of what's to come. I'm also excited to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. We're gonna try to get a show in after Christmas and after the New Year. Like I'm looking at, like, we're probably looking like the 4th or maybe the week after. Potentially we might also take this time off for ourselves and spend time with the family for everybody that's watching, and we'll just be back on the 17th when Kwang drops, and we're able to go from there. All right, so stay tuned to our socials. You got Windu on Twitter, you got me on Twitter, you got Pinzo on Twitter, you got F6 on Twitter, and then also you can hit us up in our when we go live and stuff like that. We'll still be going live during this time, but as far as Predcast, that's going to be kind of put on the back burner for a little bit, so we can spend more time with the community, with our little communities, but also with our families.
Say, I'm Puerto Rican. My holidays don't end until January 6th, bro. I still got family around till then.
Sure.
So.
I'm just learning that now. I didn't know that. So
yeah, that's the thing.
There we go.
Puerto Ricans, the holidays don't stop until January 6th, because we also celebrate the Three Kings Day on January 6th. So it's a whole thing on Puerto Rico.
All right. There we go. So that's kind of where we're at with to show how that's going to go. Again, stay tuned to the Twitter post. That's where you're going to find out for sure when our next show is going to be. But most likely looking for that 17th show with Joey, yours truly, as our guest, talking about Kwang and going on from there. So, on that note, if we all are good to go, we can do our outros and we can move on and get on to what we do with our post-Predcast lives.
Bet. So in the same order that we introduce ourselves.
Very last show.
Yeah, right. Goodbye. It might be the last one for the year. So if you guys could,
unfortunate.
Yeah, let's do our outros with the same order that we introduce ourselves. Tell people where they can find you. Tell people the projects that you're up to, where they can follow you, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna keep it short. I just stream on Twitch. It's a secret _pred. Stream basically every day for a long time, and I'm just a goofy guy that likes to play the game and likes to improve and hangs around with the community, and I'll see what I get up to in the future. We might pick up the YouTube again if we feel like it, but anything me you'll find on my Twitch, and we can go from there.
And that
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of you.
There we go. And that Twitch link is it's a secret _pred, right?
Yes, _pred.
So you find them on Twitch. It's a secret _pred, and you play every day, pretty much.
I play pretty much every day. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So go jump on that after we drop from here. Jump on that Twitch link. Click on that. Give the guy a follow. And go show him some love when you see him go live. Pinzo.
Yeah, I'm Pinzo. I stream at least every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Pinzo. You can find me on socials, YouTube, everywhere, Pinzo. If you guys need to get a hold of me, Discord and Twitter are the best ways. Other than that, I don't really have anything cooking. I'm just kind of chilling until something cool happens, until Kwang comes out, I guess, Other than
that's not true. You ended your stream saying something's coming up tomorrow, right? No, you got something going on tomorrow?
Oh, well, I'm doing a drinky stream tomorrow.
There you go. Shout it out, man.
That's
still
not
cooking.
Really something cooking.
That's cooking, man. That's gonna be a fun time, Everybody's like,
it'll
hey,
be a blast.
Exactly. So if you're not normally showing up to Pinzo streams, he's gonna have some drinky streams going. Go show him some love tomorrow.
I appreciate it, Bearded. Other than that, guys, I'll see you next year.
All right, guys. As for myself, I just got the Stareth Prestige skin. I was grinding with that a little bit last night. I am now trying out a new jungler. So I'll probably doing a new jungler until Kwang gets out. And then I'll go switch over to Kwang when that happens. But I'm looking at playing Chimera now, so we'll see how that goes. A little different play style than what I'm used to. So we'll go with that one and see how that goes. But so you'll see me doing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live here on the Bearded Wolverine. Other than that, I'm lazy when it comes to posting videos anywhere else. So until sizzle.gg gets Predecessor loaded up to that their system, and then I'll have clips being posted for me on easily, cheaply. We'll go that way. Unless one of you out there want to do edits for me for free and we'll work together, I'm all about it. If you want to work on your editing, I will give you content you can edit and we'll make things happen. But you know, that's where I'm at when it comes to that. All right. So other than that, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. And we'll see you in the streams. All right.
Lit. And as far as my side goes, I'll keep it nice and short. Been getting back into posting a little bit more gameplays. I'm gonna look back into posting tutorial videos like I used to do a lot back in the day. But yeah, just besides that, been gaming. Stop by the stream. Anywhere that you look up Winnie the Mace, you'll be able to find an account, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, etc. I'm pretty active everywhere, really. And yeah, just make sure that you guys follow every single person that showed up here, and F6 as well, even though he wasn't able to be here. Make sure that you follow him, whether it be on Twitch or Twitter.
Yeah, how dare you? Disappointed.
Yeah. Secret's got beef with you, F6. But yeah, and besides that, I just again want to wish a happy holidays to everybody. And like we were talking about in the chat, big W for Omega for the end of the year. They're doing really good this last month. They just got to keep that streak going. Big W to the creators. I've seen a lot of creators stepping up, a lot of creators coming up out of nowhere that is great content. Like much love, for example, to a medkit great support guide that got released here shortly. So it's really nice to see the creator side of things spiking. And then the last one is going to be a big W to the community, because the community, as far as supporting creators, as far as playing the game, giving feedback, being critical when needed and praising when needed, the community is definitely the best part about this game. So shout out to all of you. But like Pinzo said,
speaking of creators, Kyoko is doing a really good job too, creating videos right now. They did an offlane video, and they're also currently working on a jungle video, and they're going to go through and do all the lanes. So great job on putting out that content for these people that need to help them learn the game a little better.
For sure. A lot of good content. Just make sure that you guys go on YouTube, check everything out, stop by the Twitch directory, support all the creators in there, even if it's just like 0 viewer, 1 viewer person. Go show some love, say what's up, you know, kind of get the whole community involved and even more excited about the game. But besides that, much love, homies. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we will catch you on the next one.
Peace.